Eagles. Eagles.
And welcome in, everybody, to a Tuesday morning edition of Birds 365. After a brief hiatus and a little longer hiatus for yours truly, great to be back in the saddle with my man John McMullen. Johnny Mac, how you doing on this Tuesday morning as we inch closer to Eagles training camp coming up here in late July, my friend?
Yeah, welcome back to Zander. I hope you had a great honeymoon. Already looked like a veteran married man now. It has taken over you. You got the ring? Can we see the ring?
I do have the ring on.
There we go.
Mac. I do got the ring on. I got the gold bling on, man.
So we got the ring. Congratulations to the happy couple. We hope you had a good time and welcome back. Yeah. We persevered. We held down the fort. Hope everybody had a happy 4th of July as well. U.S. national team, though, oof, that was a disgusting performance. That ruined my whole weekend.
It's tough, John, because I don't watch soccer. I'm not a big soccer watcher. And obviously the World Cup is a little more special. I didn't watch a single game of the World Cup because I was away. You know, I wasn't gonna carve out time to watch soccer when I was abroad. And I get home, the very first soccer game of the World Cup that I watched was last night's game.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord.
I reminded myself why I didn't watch soccer anymore.
You know, I don't proclaim to be an expert, but when the Union started, I covered a bunch of Union games early in their existence, and I learned about it a little bit. And obviously, MLS is not the highest level of soccer by any means, but you learn a little bit about the game. That was a completely different team. I've never seen anything like it. Like you see people talk. I don't like to use the term choke, but they were hesitant. They were afraid. They were a favorite. I think a lot of people don't understand what a great run. They're like ranked 14th in the world, people, or something of that nature. They were favored in every game they played up until this point. And they were favored in this game. And they got the brakes beat off of them. I mean, it was just awful. And it was all, and everybody's talking, you know, everybody's got to politicize everything because there's a big red card controversy and Trump gets involved. And you got all these weirdo political people. Well, they lost their focus because shut the fuck. They fucking got destroyed from basically minute one. I mean, it's the same thing I say with the Eagles when everybody wants to blame everything but the players. Ultimately, nobody can go out there except the players. And look, there can be controversies, and FIFA, by the way, FIFA is one of the most corrupt organizations in the history of the world. So it's far worse than the NFL. This isn't new for anybody, and it actually helped the USA on paper, their decision. So don't use that as an excuse. They embarrassed themselves. And it's sad because they had a great run up to that point. But even the run was, because again, I think a lot of people don't understand. They were favored to win every game they won. So, I mean, they did what they were supposed to do. And then they get to the Sweet 16, so to speak, and they fall apart. Disappointing. It's disappointing. And the goalkeeper, by the way, he's a local kid. He's from somewhere around here. My God. I don't know if you saw that third goal.
Yeah, it was tough.
It's like, what are you doing, dude? But anyway, I digress. Eagles show. Let's get back to the Eagles.
Well,
just had to say, and I'm surprised in Italy, but you were in Italy. It had to be huge over there.
Oh, I mean, everybody was watching it.
Yeah.
I'm out with, I'm out.
No, you're happy.
I'm not drinking wine.
Believe me,
shebang,
I'm just saying it's got to be much bigger over there than here. Although it was big here because the majority of the games were in the United States. So, but anyway, yeah. Now we'll turn the page. Disappointing.
Well, this is the rare instance, John, in July that I am itching to talk about the Philadelphia. If you can believe that, I am itching to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes, usually I'm the exact opposite. I'm like,
well, normally I am
camp.
too at this point, but I've been gone for 2 weeks. I'm like, what the hell has been going on JAKIB Nation with all the great people listening, with Johnny Mack and Krause on Birds 365. So, John, give me a rundown, man. What have I missed in the last 2 weeks? It's been, I do know this. It's one of the most dead times of the NFL, news cycle. So I'm sure there hasn't been too much out there, but I am looking. Training camp is what, July 28th, right, John?
Yeah, they report July 28th. First,
so that's 21 days out. You got preseason game 1, I think is 39 days away, Saturday, August 15th. And then regular season opener is September 13th. That's 68 days away, Johnny.
Yeah, it's coming closer.
Quick. Yeah.
First practice July 29th. They'll be on the field that morning. So yeah, we're easing, but you didn't miss much, if that's what because you weren't here, and and thanks to Krause for stepping in and holding down the fort. A lot of Jalen Hurts talk, which I'm so tired of, but people are so interested in it. It's like I don't know what else to say. It's list season. And the lists have started to come out, including our own at Eagles on SI, which is our top 25 players entering the season. We're up to 17, which is coming out this morning. And that'll continue as we head towards.
And who's doing it this year, John? You, Ed, and have you added Jeff Kerr to the mix?
Yes. So, it gives, and already, I had to rip those guys for putting Jake Elliott on the list, because I just, it's supposed to be the best individual players heading into the season. Look, Jake Elliott has done a ton for this organization. Number one, it's hard to get kickers and specialists on the list, but Braden Mann had a great season. He's on the list, and deservedly so. Jake's been on the list in the past, and deservedly so, but it's 2 years now when the guy's been one of the worst kickers in football. I can't say, if you're talking about the Jake Elliott who's winning Super Bowls and, kicking 61-yard field goals against the New York Giants to basically set off a run. Yeah, one of the best all-pro kicker at one point. He was on the list, and deservedly so. In 2026, he doesn't deserve to be on the list. I mean, if you got to be honest with yourself. But it's tough to balance that, where are they right now versus what have they done for you, especially players that have done a lot for you. So that's how players like Jake Elliott seep in. Rookie Mekhi Lemon, look, he wasn't on my list. He was on everybody else's list. And that's not in my mind, it's not a criticism to Mekhi Lemon. They have enough good players to where I have to see him do it first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, when Jalen Carter drafted, he was on my list. He was pretty high. It was like 17 to 18 because he's just a phenomenal talent, top 10 pick. So I leave room for projection. And by the way, if Mekhi Lemon's not on the top 25 heading into next season, then we got a big problem. But right now, I got to see more. And I don't think that's an insult, but that's where we are in the differentiating. Other guys, Tank Bigsby ended 25. That's exactly where I put him, 25. Jake Elliott was 24. I didn't have him on my list. Mekhi Lemon was 23. I didn't have him on my list.
Wait, so are you guys giving your own list, or are you?
We do it separate. It's 1 through 25.
Yeah, but if Jake Elliott didn't make your list, but he made the top 25, is there a place that I can see John McMullen's top 25, or are you only doing them weighted and then, or like you're doing them all together type of thing? And then it's like how they, I guess Ed's doing.
Well, it's a point system.
Right. Okay. I want to know the John McMullen top 25 is what I want to know.
Yeah. But the guys I had in that didn't make it were Dontavian Wicks at 23. And those guys weighted Mekhi Lemon. Specifically, Ed had him at 21, so that gave him the advantage. And I had Jonathan Jones at 24. I had and Jake Elliott. He was not on either Kerr or Kratz's list. And I just think he's a good player. So I think that was a miss. But those were some of the, Braden Mann was 22. I had him at 22 on my list. Tyler Steen was, Drew Makuba was 21. I had him 21 on my list. Kerr had him in 24. Ed had him at 20. Tyler Steen was at 20. I had him at 20 on my list. 21 for Kerr, 22 for Ed. Jahad Campbell was 19. But I think that's way low for Jahad Campbell. I had him at 15. Both of those guys had him at 19. There's some disconnect with Philadelphia fans and Jahad Campbell, by the way. I mean, what did that guy do wrong?
Well, no, you know what it was, John. I think it was the confusion of when he got drafted, because even Howie kind of sprinkled that when he said he compared.
Oh, he definitely did.
Yeah, he compared him to those Penn State guy, Micah Parsons, who was drafted as an off-ball linebacker and becomes one of the best edge rushers, in all of football. I think he muddied that a little bit, where people had changed what their expectation of Campbell was, and now they're having a hard time seeing him through the lens of just an off-ball linebacker, which I agree with you. I think he'll be in good shape for.
Yeah, and I would say in Vic we trust there.
Yeah, right.
So I mean, you're right. You're 100% right. That's why we all reported at the time, because Howie was just mentioned those rushers, mentioned Micah specifically, and when Nakobe Dean came back, and I think that's the second part, because people love Nakobe so much. When Nakobe came back, I think people forget, well, Vic tried him at edge rusher at that time because the Eagles still needed some help, and he wasn't good. And I think that set him back as well, because then you start the cross training. So I think as he settles down at off-ball linebacker, I think people are going to get very excited by him, but we'll see. 18 was Nolan Smith. I think he's too low. I had him at 14. Ed and Jeff had him at 18. I think in most people's eyes, Jalix Hunt has surpassed him. In my eyes, Jalix Hunt has surpassed him as far as ceiling goes, as far as contract goes, as far as that. But right now, I think Nolan's still a better football player. Now he's got to stay healthy, which is big if. So he's 18. And this morning, let me see if it's up. I don't want to break it, but
break it here for Birds 365. Come on, J-Mac.
And Jeff's going to be on, so it is up. So Reek Woolen is 17. Spring MVP.
Who was our spring winner, right? Yeah, he was our
spring MVP. Hey, Kerr had him at 17 on his list. I had him at 16. Ed had him at 16. So we're all very consistent with Reek Woolen. And then we'll go on from there with 16 players to go. What this exercise also tells you, not as deep. Team's not as deep as it usually is. Some of the guys who missed the list, I mentioned Wicks, Jonathan Jones, Byron Young. They're good players, but they wouldn't have made the list over the past few years. But it's funny as Zander, as we look at some of the other lists that are populating, like one is ESPN grading the starting lineups around the league. Eagles are number two.
And how do you feel about that rating? I did see that list. I saw somebody put that in.
I think it's reputation based. I don't think it's reality based. Now, look, they're one or two in defense. Definitely. I think that's fair.
Defense feels to me like you could make that argument pretty easily.
Oh yeah, if you put them number two behind Houston, I'd say yeah, that's right. Maybe even number one. I'd say, but offense, I mean, at best you could say 12, 13 coming off last season, and that's being generous. So
do you think people are taking out like the talent as opposed to the actual production of what the offense.
Well, I think as you see it, because they the story, if you read the story, which is from 3 different ESPN analysts, sort of like our thing, which was Aaron Schatz, who's been on the show, Football Outsiders, the creator of DVOA. So, big analytics guy, Michael Clay and Seth Walder. So it's very analytically driven, I would say, number one, which, not necessarily bad. But number two, I think, they had little, as they wrote the story, it had biggest strength being the offensive tackles, which on paper, future Hall of Famer Jordan Mailata, that makes sense. Remember, it's only the starting lineups. It's not the depth. So they don't have much depth, but we're at least much proven depth. So that's fine. But you're coming off a season where Lane missed half the season.
Right.
And Jordan, although I believe his decline was overrated compared to some other people, still did decline. And, at Lane's age, you have to start thinking about when the inevitable decline comes, and if that's already started. So if you're asking my opinion, I can't speak for those guys, but my opinion is they're treating Landon Dickerson like he's 3-time Pro Bowl Landon Dickerson. Cam Jurgens like he's 2-time Pro Bowl Cam Jurgens. Saquon Barkley like he's 2024 Saquon Barkley. I mean, that's how you get the number 2. That they are number 2, that group. But that wasn't the group that showed up last year. And that was further. An example of that was Jeremy Fowler's first list, which to me is the most important of the list, because it's a survey of the league's decision makers, coaches, general managers, executives, scouts,
people who sign the players and people who play the players.
So, the best running back is Bijan Robinson. They got that right. I've been saying that. Number 2 is Jahmyr Gibbs. They got that right. Number 3, Saquon Barkley. Well, he wasn't last year. It wasn't close. So which one shows up? Now, is it obviously in 2024? He should be 1.
But how much is Saquon's decline though? Do you put on running back is a position that's
that was
on a lot of positions around him, as obviously. How much I think people do think. And some people probably think differently, but one line of thinking is, well, the offensive line struggled last year in the run game, and that's maybe why Saquon's.
Well, that what's funny about that? You're right, number 1, but number 2 is FTN, which is a fantasy, but they do stuff. They do analytical stuff as well, and they just put together a list of different offensive line rankings. 4 different offensive, so 4 different places, and compiled that into a list. Eagles offensive line was number 2. So which one is it? Number 2 in the NFL.
I've been saying to people they were too hard on the O-line. I'm not saying they were 24 level, but they weren't. They were costing you games last year. Yeah.
They were borderline top 10, and that's bad for them, but not nearly as bad as people think it was. And now everybody's back to, well, they have the second best offensive line in the league or the best offensive line in the league. You can't have it both ways. So if you want to make excuses for Saquon, that's fine, but you can't make excuses for the offensive line. So that's where we are. And ultimately, what all these lists tell you, and I wrote about this the other day, the expectations aren't wavering, man. They're on the same expectation level. And that obviously make things more difficult for Nick Sirianni, and perhaps more important, Sean Mannion, who is first-time play caller, lack of experience coaching. And everybody thinks this talent is unbelievable. And they've thought that, from me they've thought that for the past 18 months. They've thought it for the past 4 years, basically. And it wasn't that last year. A lot of injuries, a lot of context to that. Guys can bounce back. But there's also perhaps a lot of veteran players who have started, they're over the hump and they're on the downside.
Fair enough, Johnny Mac. A lot of good conversation here. I do look at Saquon, and I find that one interesting, John, because he did have 1140 last year on the ground and also almost 300 in the air. So, I mean, this is a guy who still in a down year puts up 1350 or 1400 yards of offense, last year. So I do still think Saquon has a lot of ability. I'm not saying that last year
nobody
wasn't
I'm
partly
not
on him, but
he's obviously tremendously gifted. I mean, nobody's going to argue that.
I mean, would you put someone at 3 above him?
Oh, yeah. Coming off last season. Yeah. I think there's a bunch of guys that should be above.
Well, just give me some names. Just like who you think?
Well, McCaffrey had a better year last year. Taylor had a better year last year. Derrick Henry, James Cook.
Yeah, James Cook had a good year. I'm surprised he wasn't up higher.
You can argue. I'm just looking at the top 10. You can argue A-Shane, but he's on a bad team. Kenneth Walker, I'm not a big fan of. That's probably about it. I think he should be 7 or 8 based off last season. Based off the season prior, should have been 1. But, one of the things, and to your point, so they have little quotes from guys who want to be quoted. And one personnel guy said, I'm not going to penalize him, which is what you were saying, for a terrible all-around offense last year. He's still a 3-down weapon. And if I needed a running back for 1 season, I'm still taking him 1. So there's the positive.
Was there a name on that quote or no?
No, these guys are all, they don't want names on any of it. And then the other side of it is, my only criticism is that he doesn't always produce when things aren't completely clean, which I think is fair, as you see by the time with the Giants. And that's what he said. That's dating back to the Giants, tends to need things perfectly set up for him. Maybe that's a little bit too harsh. But the most disturbing stat from last year, beside, I mean, you're talking about 2005 yards down to 1180, which is enormous drop off. Now, when you start so highly,
yeah, right. It's like you said, it's like a regression to the mean,
Yeah.
1180 is still pretty good.
He had 4 runs of 20 plus yards versus 17 the year prior. I mean, that's significant.
See, part of that to me, and I'm not professing to know it all, but to me, when I hear that number, I think that's because defense has changed the way they played our team. We couldn't.
Well, I think that's fair, but that's part of it.
In the middle of the field, and defense has changed, and then all of a sudden you can't get to that second level as easy, second and third level as easy. So I that's kind of what I think. If you're able to throw the ball better, those lanes might open up, and those home runs might return a little bit more for Saquon. But that's just my opinion. I don't know that whether it's 100%.
Well, then you look into the analytical stuff, and his rushing yards over expected. This is according to Next Gen Stats. So what's expected on a play, and you could say it's gobbledygook, whatever, but went from 2nd in the NFL. So this is what expected by the blocking, and down to 24th. That's the most concerning part. 2 to 24 from what was expected. Oh, and then over, which is obviously tremendous the year prior. Number 2 in the NFL to number 24. And the third and most concerning aspect, he's 29 years old and he's touched the ball a freaking ton. Generally, running backs at that age, they're not going to have the dip and bounce back, generally. Now, he's a bit of a physical freak. Maybe he's different. That's what you have to hang your hat on.
Yeah, right.
But generally, it doesn't work that way.
John, how about Jalen Hurts? You mentioned, I know you said you're tired of talking about him, but you did say he's dominated a lot of the conversation. Has it been positive, negative? I really haven't seen much of it, my friend. When I meant I unplugged, I freaking unplugged. I know I did read your article. I think it was from late June about the crossroads for Jalen, almost framing it. I don't want to speak for you, but as a quasi audition for his next contract, which I do think is fair with everything looming. What's been the conversation around QB1 at this point in the offseason?
Well, some of the lists have started seeping out for the quarterbacks. That haven't been great. Jeff's going to pop on here soon. Pete Prisco, Jeff's old colleague from CBS, was probably the first, and he had Jalen all the way down on his top 100 list. He had him all the way down at 17, best quarterback, which I think was a little bit harsh. PFF just came out with theirs. He's 15th. And then there was another one that I can't remember where he was 16th. I'll try to figure it out. But that seems a little bit harsh to me. And for people who think, because I get that constant, oh, you hate Jalen Hurts, which is completely not true. But I mean, that's where he belongs off last season. He was an average quarterback last season. If you're being kind. But I do think in his instance, there's room for improvement. My concern remains, I don't know why you're building an offense that doesn't integrate the strengths of your quarterback on paper, but at the end of the day, I also believe they will adjust accordingly. Right. So it's kind of hard to talk about it at this point, other than on paper, doesn't make a lot of sense to go to what people perceive they're going to. And my answer, I think, is that, well, they're not going to go fully into that one bucket, and they're going to try to blend the whole thing, which is what Sean Mannion said when he talked to us. But we're just going to have to wait and see on that. But for the list, I mean, he was an average quarterback last year.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. I mean, look, in the context that if you include the context of the careers and grading a player, I think 17 is too low for Jalen Hurts and what he's accomplished. But if you're going off of last year, I'm of the belief that to be a top 10 quarterback, you have to significantly increase or improve your team's offense and chances to win every single week. And I don't necessarily believe Jalen did that at a high enough clip last year. And that's where I would put on him that to be the elite quarterback, to maintain that label, you have to give your team almost an unfair advantage, over others. And I don't believe he did that last year, just going off of last year, and that's where I think some of those rankings might come from.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, like I said, definitions mean everything when you have these kinds of lists now. And it's hard to delve into the mind of people making the list, but yeah, if you're doing it for a career, he's got to be higher than that. If you're doing them off one season, it sounds about right. And projection wise, it's tough to project because you don't know what the offense is going to be. People think they know, but and if they're right, by the way, if those people are right, I don't think it's going to be good for Jalen Hurts. Maybe it's good for the running game. Maybe it helps Saquon. I don't think it's going to be good for Jalen Hurts.
No doubt. We're going to get to Jeff Curran here in a second. John, I did see one other thing that popped up on my timeline, and I wasn't on there much, but Jalen, where was he? Out in Florida with a lot of the offensive crew?
Yeah, Central Florida. Fired up. So Orlando-ish. Yeah, a bunch of guys down there working out, which is, what you have to do. So good for them. But
yeah, it is good to see that. It was like almost like a lot of the offensive players. I think I even saw Eli Stowers was there. Goddard was there. I mean, Elijah Moore was there. He had a big group of offensive players, which I think was a good thing to coordinate and get going here in the offseason.
Yeah, I think Jalen's excited. You know, he'll never show it, but I think he's excited to move on from AJ and some of the angst, and you know, so that part of it's a positive. You know, maybe he's a little bit more comfortable, maybe he's a little bit more relaxed, and maybe that helps as well. But those are intangibles that you have to wait and see.
No doubt. All right, 2 super chats we'll get to. I want to thank and welcome everybody for being here on this Tuesday morning. A great opening segment. I got to say, peace is restored, everybody. It feels good to be back on Birds 365. I miss Johnny Mack. I miss Jeff Kerr in the green room, and I missed all the great people of JAKIB Nation. I'll read a few super chats, then we will get Jeff Kerr in here in just a second. Prince Swayze checks in. What's up, Prince? Thanks for being here, brother. I missed you, pal. He says this. Welcome back, my guy. It's funny how all offseason I kept mentioning how good our roster was, and everybody kept downplaying it. Then a report comes out ranking us behind the Rams. LOL, who am I? Prince, you're picking and choosing, though. You know, you're picking and choosing the reports that line up with what you're saying. But you have been saying it, Prince. That's fair enough, my friend.
Yeah, and remember, Prince, it was starting lineups. It's not including depth. So it wasn't best rosters, but I got news for you. They're going to be at the top of any best roster list as well. Maybe it'll be 4th, maybe it'll be 5th, whatever. But it's been Prince. It's been this way for 4 years. What you act like you're the one who caught on that people think the Eagles have a lot of talent. That's the whole reason people blame the coaches when things go poorly. They have so much talent. How many times have you heard that? They have so much talent. They can't be that bad with that much talent. Hey, the United States men's national team was supposed to beat Belgium last night. They have more talent. Didn't look too good.
Yeah, that's true. Here's Walkout. What's up, Walkout? Xander, congratulations on your marriage. Many years of health and happiness. Bill, thank you, man. I appreciate it. And thank you for the super chat. Let me tell you, super chats are appreciated at this point after a couple weeks in Europe. Holy crap. John, there's a hole burnt in my wallet, my friend. I don't know, man. Cards are smoking.
2 weeks in Italy. Yeah, that'll put a hole in a bunch of pockets.
Yes,
right
it
there.
will. And here's Mac. He says, that boy Zander is glowing. What's up, baby? Good to see you back. Mac, thanks for being here, man. I appreciate you. Great to see you. Good to see everybody back in here. Thanks for being a member for 21 months. All right, let's keep rolling here. Let's get to Jeff Kerr, who's in the green room. He joins us right now here on Birds 365. You can follow him at Jeff Kerr, PHL. Jeff Kerr, I've missed you, my friend. How are you doing on this Tuesday morning?
I got to fire back at McMullen right now.
All right.
More talent, the United States. Get out of here with that.
They're higher ranked than Belgium. They were favorite.
Those World Cup rankings are such BS.
What are we talking about? The perception, I'm comparing it to the Eagles. The perception is the Eagles have a ton of talent. The perception is the United States should have won that game coming into the game. Now people say that's laughable because they watched the game.
Well,
and they were
this is the ceiling I had them for, the round of 16. Oh, by the way, that whole thing was stained. Balogun should have still been suspended. I don't care. Like,
well, that part of it. Yeah, look, FIFA's been a corrupt disaster of an organization for many years.
Oh yeah. And any other country's leaders would have interfered and meddled too.
That's bull. Those people, those weirdo political people. I'm sorry. That blaming that on the president, lobbying for them to. I mean, look, you're right. It makes FIFA look bad, but
it made the U.S. look bad. Honestly, my message was after the whole thing, we're not good enough to beat that team, so we need him to beat that team. And you still got shell shocked.
Yeah, and now Belgium's on top. By the way, because they do it like right away. So Belgium is now, shockingly, as they've reached the quarterfinals, number 8. So, but coming into that game. The U.S. was 14th, I think, coming into the tournament.
But they were 5th in the 2006 World Cup. And
I'm just saying the perception. My comp was the perception, and they were the favorite. They were supposed to win this game, and they got their asses kicked. completely embarrassed. So
I'm actually writing a
saying,
story on 5 Eagles performances in the playoffs that compare to this, like where they were the team that should have won the game. If
well,
you
exactly,
go on
and
paper.
they didn't win the game. It happens all the time, and people always blame everything but the freaking players.
Yep,
How
it's
about
the
the
coach's
goalkeeper?
fault. It's U.S. Soccer Federation's. Hey, here's one for you. Christian Pulisic has been the biggest no-show for the
All right,
United
there we go.
States
Let's
for
blame
8
the
years.
player. Good.
Yeah.
Let's blame the player.
He's
That's
been
what
a
I'm trying.
no-show. Balogun was a no-show.
There we go. That's
Sergio
what I'm
Dest
trying to
was
say.
such a no-show. He got benched at halftime.
It's the players on the pitch. I'm not going to say the field. The pitch.
And you can say the field. I'll say the pitch.
The players on the pitch. No, I'll say it just like it's the players on the field. Zander knows. How many times do I say that? Talent first. Jimmy's and Joe's. Talent.
I went off on a couple people last
Those
night.
guys shit the bed. Where's that goal? Got that goal. You'll know, Jeff. He's local. Where's he from? The goalkeeper, the U.S. goalkeeper.
Matt Freese. He used to play for the Union. That's on him. That's not on the head coach. It's
He
on the
used to
manager.
play for the Union. I know he went to high school around here.
Yeah, he went to high school.
I stopped covering the Union. Is Andre Blake still with the Union?
He's still with the Union. He's still really good too.
Yeah, like was he his backup?
Yeah, he was his back. He's now with New York City FC, the goalkeeper for the. But by the way, that was a controversial selection, even having him as goalkeeper, because he wasn't even the goalkeeper for that team a year ago. They've been banned at goalkeeper.
John, he was born in Wayne, PA. That goalkeeper.
Yeah, I knew.
That was hard. That was like one of the worst.
That was one of the worst decisions I've ever. It's to the point where you start thinking in this world, were they shaving points? Were they? I mean, they looked. Early in the game, I think Belgium had like 7 shots, which is not.
They almost scored at 52 seconds into the game. I'm like, they're in trouble. Like Belgium just
which is not normal in soccer to have that many scoring opportunities. No. And they wouldn't react to the ball as it came into the box. I'm like, what are they doing? To the point I started thinking, are they shaving here? That's how bad it was.
Yeah, maybe.
It was just. To me, it's this golden generation. That's what they call this group. This is the generation they've been building for 2 decades to go to the next level. They haven't gone any farther than Landon Donovan. Actually, Landon Donovan then went farther. Landon Donovan, Brian McBride, Clint Mathis, Brad Friedel, all those guys. And I always said, I wonder what Donovan and them really think on television when they hear that this group's better than them, when they haven't accomplished anything.
Well, I got a perfect segue out of that. Reminds me of the Sixers. You can't get past the second round. If we're going to talk about
Brown,
oh yeah. Wait,
I haven't talked
about
it yet. I did see that broke when I was abroad. What do you guys make of the Jalen Brown trade? I'll just say before I get into it a little deeper, I thought it was a great trade. I'm a big fan of Jalen Brown as a player.
Am too.
He's a gritty player.
Oh, the analytics nerds were out. He's not.
I like
good.
the way he plays the game. I think it's a good. I think it's a good trade for the Sixers.
Basketball. Jalen Brown's a really good player.
He's a great player. He's a great basketball player.
Yeah,
great player.
I go, what am I watching with these leagues? You know, I'm not going to pick on individuals, but these fucking. Look, when you're trying to be the smartest guy in the room, you ain't the smartest guy in the room.
No.
They're so desperate.
You know who thought that a lot? Who's not with the Eagles anymore? AJ Brown. He used to think he was the smartest guy.
Well, come on. This is a team AJ zone. I'm very honest about that.
I like AJ
you're not,
too,
you're
but
not
he thinks
chirping
he's the
AJ Brown on
room.
this program, Jeff.
I like him too, but he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, and he does.
Really? I never got that vibe from him.
I don't get that. I don't get that vibe from AJ, but you know, I'm a little biased when it comes.
Is
to
that what they say about Jalen Brown? Though, is that your point, Jeff? That people say he's the smartest. He tries to be.
I'm saying it about these analytics nerds who are trying to say. I mean, one of the things about the Celtics is they had the best bench in basketball this year, and they weren't supposed to be good. And you know, they did dive deep into the plus minus, and they're saying they're actually better when Jalen Brown's not on the floor.
Or Forbes a good one too.
Yeah,
give me a break.
I'm like, they don't even have layered thinking. They just look at numbers. They don't watch the games. They don't have layered thinking. It's like, okay, Jalen Brown's on on the floor when starters against starters, where you're not nearly as dominant as you are when your bench is on the floor, which is generally bench versus bench. And most teams have crappy bench, insert Sixers. And the Celtics would often, and that's a big part of their success. I'm not denying it. But to use that as saying the guy who was, I don't know, 6th in MVP voting, all NBA.
A lot of people thought he should have been MVP last year based on how he carried the Celtics.
He's been there for a decade now. He's been a tremendous player the whole way. I mean, stop it with your nonsense.
I used to get so much flack from watching the Sixers because I would say Jason Tatum's a system player, and I've been saying it from day one: system player, and I would get slammed for it. And Jason Tatum can't get on the floor for Team USA. I'm like, because he's a system player.
Well, I don't agree with that, but
he is. He couldn't fit
Team USA.
What they were running.
Team USA in basketball is pretty good. It's not like
I know, but I'm saying though, he did not when he was on the court, he looked out of place, and that's fine. You can be a system player, but that's what he is.
I still think Tatum's better than Brown, but I mean,
I do too. But Jalen Brown's really good at basketball.
Yeah, they're both really good.
I agree there, John. I think Tatum is the guy, but I mean, Jalen Brown's. I just like the way he's a physical player and he plays with an attitude. Yeah. I like that.
By the way, and that's another thing with these nerds in the playoffs when they lost to the Sixers and everybody's beating them up because Joel Embiid's beat. He's playing against Joel Embiid because he has to. And he doesn't fucking complain. He goes out there and you don't value that?
Yeah.
He's a wing player, physicaling Joel Embiid to block.
Oh, and talking his talk. Like,
yeah.
I didn't have a problem with him doing any of that. Like, man, you guys just hate the Celtics. Like, I'm loving him doing this.
By the way, hating the Celtics. That's the team I hate.
Yeah, I don't like him either. But like, you got to give Jalen Brown his flowers for that. And now you got that dog mentality here. I don't know what Boston was thinking.
Well, I don't care what they were thinking. I think it's a good move for the.
I do too.
All I know is how many 6'6" players who are legitimate superstars would accept the role of, oh, we don't have anybody else. So could you go bang with Joel Embiid for
it's a great
10, 15 minutes?
Yeah, sure. I'll do it.
He's already a superstar. Most of LeBron, who is, arguably the best player of all time, certainly top 5. He can do. He wouldn't want to do that. This guy's in there going.
I'm curious to see where LeBron.
I think he's going back to Cleveland.
I think he's going back to Cleveland too. I'm in that camp.
But the fact that Jalen Brown was willing to do that, love the dude, love it. Very rarely, especially a star.
Yeah.
I just keep thinking of a team now with Jalen Brown, a rising VJ Edgeco who's becoming really good before our eyes. Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid doesn't have to carry this team, and Deion Wade, like that's a good starting 5.
I haven't seen enough. Is it unsteady waters with Embiid? I mean, is he definitely going to be on this basketball team next year?
Well, nothing's definite, but I mean, it's very difficult to move him. You gotta.
I just saw someone say he's been silent or something on the.
You know what? I hate that comment because
I do too. But he is a loud mouth, Jeff. He's normally been pretty.
But I love how the loudmouths like to get on silent people for being silent because they can't shut up. But I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well,
I saw somebody else put out that, because that's one of the problems with Jalen Brown is. And how about the irony of sending one disgruntled Brown back to Philadelphia, where we sent a disgruntled Brown to Boston?
Right.
Boston.
Brown for Brown, baby. Philly and Boston.
But, one of the problems with Jalen Brown is he'll do a 45-minute Twitch stream and say some shit.
That was entertaining, but his Twitch streams are great. After they lost to the Sixers this year, you had to go on that. It was glorious.
I'm not sure the Sixers will like it. And already, people, he didn't mention Joel in 45 minutes. It's like, These become stories in the media.
Oh, I know they do. I know they do. And who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure him and Embiid will have their kumbaya at some point.
And if they don't, who cares? I don't give a shit about Joel Embiid and what he thinks now, to be honest.
I haven't cared about what he thought in a couple years.
I mean, Joel's the third option on this team right now?
Fourth?
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Fourth? No, Edgecombe is not the option over Embiid yet.
No, I would still say
late in the game, I give it to Edgecombe over Embiid.
Well, they won't, unfortunately.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying because you need a shot maker, a player who can create a shot, but they like to give the ball to Joel.
I think at the end, though, Edgecombe played so many minutes. Obviously, he was tired at the end, and Maxey. I mean,
it was a great experience for him. I mean, as a rookie player, I think, in the NBA.
Yeah, it put some excitement around the Sixers, so that's good. That's good.
Yeah, they needed it in the worst way because I think all the good vibes they have beating the Celtics just kind of went to a screeching halt with the Knicks. By the way, Knicks fans are still going to take over that arena.
But I do find that part of it, guys, a little interesting, though. I mean, the Sixers finally, they come back and they bounce the Celtics, and then they trade for, one of the better players on the Celtics. I did look into that and say, maybe should you have continued to double down on your team? But I guess they did still in a way by adding Jaylen Brown to that mix. So they got
people who were disappointed over the Knicks loss saw how good the Knicks were, as they continued on in the playoffs. Like they didn't lose to a bad team. The Knicks were really good, really good.
Yeah, I mean, they struggled against the Hawks, and then they woke up and decided they were the Knicks again. And then they just kind of rolled from there.
I mean, they swept Cleveland. They didn't even play well against San Antonio.
And they beat them in 5.
25-point leads, and they'd evaporate in 10 minutes. Really good team. Jalen Brunson is a hell of a basketball player.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
Always was.
All right, let's get over to the Eagles. Jeff Kerr, you tell me. It's been a couple of weeks since I've talked. I know you and Johnny Mack are doing your top 25.
And I ripped you and Krause for putting Jake Elliott and Mekhi Lemon on the list. More Jake Elliott.
Oh, yeah, that just tells you about the depth on this football team right now.
I'll tell McMullen on the ripping you guys for Jake Elliott. Guy's been one of the worst kickers in football for 2 straight years. I mean, come on here. What are we doing?
Yeah, I know, but he's valuable to them.
Well, and that's the thing. I tried to define it as best pure football player. Bill Belichick rules. It's my definition, which is who does their job the best. So
valuable is a different thing. I mean, if you go valuable, Jalen Hurts is the number one value.
Yeah, he's got to be number one.
Right.
And that's why I do it the way we do it. We've done it. Because I don't find most important, most valuable that interesting, because you can go to Arizona and they got to figure out things at the quarterback position. And if it's going to be Jacoby Brissett, he's the most important player on the team. It doesn't matter if you have the best quarterback or the worst starting quarterback. He's the most important player on your team. So I don't necessarily value that list, most important players. And that's why, but I do think best pure football players are interesting because, most people would say it's Myles Garrett right now, right? But is he more important than Matthew Stafford? No.
My issue was I couldn't find anybody better behind these guys than Jake Elliott.
Well, that's fair. John did point out that it feels like the depth on the team is lower.
Yeah, it's not as good because Ed and I have been doing it. Jeff jumped in this year. Ed and I have been doing it for a number of years. It was much more difficult when you got to 20 than it usually is. To Jeff's point of the depth isn't what it once was. And even Tank Bigsby at 25, should he be that high? Well,
probably not.
In Jacksonville, maybe. In Philadelphia, over the past, no, he wouldn't be. This year he is. I had Dontavian Wicks on my list. Yeah. He didn't make it, but
He's such an unknown to me, man. I don't want to be right about this, but I don't see it. I just don't see it.
That's fine, but I mean, by definition, a rookie's an unknown, so that's where Makai Lemon comes into it.
I don't. You know what? I'm worried about him too, Makai Lemon.
Now, he obviously has a higher upside. That's fair to say.
I just think you're putting a lot of pressure on Makai Lemon and Dontavian Wicks to replace Devontae.
Oh, I agree. I think it's.
You're back to that era where it's one guy and then the rest of them. And that you didn't win championships.
Any concern with Makai Lemon and the offseason injuries here? I mean, I think I'm
concerned because he's missing all this time.
And Jalen and the offensive crew were kind of just down in Florida. I don't know that I didn't
see him in any of the photos. I know we don't.
Which again, I'm not gonna be the drama. I'm not gonna make a big deal about.
But how bad is that hamstring injury?
And when you're talking about chemistry and being able to replace. John, I think, has called it the Moneyball approach of replacing A.J. Brown, where you want to have, multiple different guys try and clean it up. Makai Lemon's going to be a big part of that. And if Jalen Hurts is somebody who values, trust in the player.
My guess, and it's just a guess, is the Eagles told him to shut it down until.
I agree.
I agree there 100%. And he should shut it down in the spring.
Yeah. And I agree with that approach. So,
but every action does have a consequence.
I mean, Vic was on Reed Exciting Mics, and he talked about Cooper. Think about how good Cooper is and how good he was as a rookie. But people forget he didn't play the first month, because he had the hamstring,
and we were concerned about it because he was behind. And same thing, but. I mean, everybody's different. Look, it's, people tell me don't worry about hamstring injury. I'm like, well, I'm going to tell you this. As someone who covers baseball and covers prospects in baseball, there's a Phillies prospect right now, Dante Nori, who had a hamstring injury, like Makai Lemon. Oh, I was told it was a couple days, maybe a week or two. Yeah, he's still hurt. It's been 5 weeks. Hamstring injuries are tricky.
Yeah. Well, to the point about Lemon and Wicks, we're in list season. So Zander and I were talking, Jeff, about the top starting lineups in football that ESPN put out.
Oh, so and Eagles are second. Second. Yeah, okay.
I mean, Jeff, to me, if you're saying they're second in defense, I'm on board.
Yeah, you want to tell me the Eagles have the best defense in football here? I'll raise the pom-poms.
They could be one. Offense?
Good luck.
That is reputation based. That's what I wrote on Eagles.
Everybody's like, the O-line's back and they're healthy. Yeah, I agree. But does that mean they're going to be good again? I don't know.
That is completely reputation based. And the one aspect where they got worse from a talent perspective is wide receiver.
Yep.
You can talk yourself into shit in the NFL. You're rolling out there with Makai Lemon and Dontavian Wicks, and so much of this city's convinced themselves they're going to be fine.
They're not, because Green Bay didn't think Dontavian Wicks was fine.
He was the fifth receiver there.
Yeah. Hollywood Brown might be better than both of them.
It's possible. It's possible.
I mean, that was one that I thought one of the more underrated signs of the offseason. Like, man, his foot
but I'm not even in love with Hollywood Brown either.
No, I'm not either. But I'm like, if his foot is back, it's not a bad signing.
No, I don't think it's a bad signing. But I'm just saying you have taken a sharp drop back from a talent perspective of wide receiver, and it's obvious. But people don't like the guy anymore because of how it ended. And they're acting like it isn't obvious.
If they had A.J. Brown, I would say they can compete with the Rams and the Seahawks. I don't think they can. If they do, it's because of their defense. It's because of Vic Fangio and everybody else.
And look, that's why I've said this summer that I believe Jalen Hurts needs to have his best year of his career this year for this team to go the distance.
How does that happen?
When you think of elite quarterbacks, you think of them raising the level of play of everybody around them.
He can if you let him run the ball.
Has to be that catalyst this year. If he's not, then the conversation for the next contract is going to get muddy quickly.
Jeff hit the point. How could he be that guy? He can be that guy. He's been that guy. We've seen that guy. But how can he be that guy if you take away the +1 in the running game?
Yeah.
And you're taking it away schematically.
They can't take away the +1. Well, you're right. Schematically, they are.
I'm telling you, the Eagles are dating Sabrina Carpenter, and they want Sydney Sweeney. I don't understand it. You're winning the way you're winning.
You're winning.
No, I know, but it's like it's not good enough. Like I got somebody good, and it ain't good enough. But
you're winning
this.
either way. You might be upgrading depending on your flavor.
Well, they want to upgrade. That's what they want.
Well, no, to Jeff's point, though, maybe the analogy stands because they have been supremely successful running this style of ball. Might not be your flavor, John.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's been successful.
They don't like espresso.
Their original flavor was not my flavor.
Yeah,
I
I'm with you.
don't like watching.
I'm with you.
But
I don't
they
like
win, and I like winning. I always liked winning.
I'm just saying they were very successful at it. Until, the pocket, they had pockets of, but to act like they're not going to have pockets of ugliness in this offense is nuts.
It's going to be bad. They're going to win a lot of games because their defense is really good.
Look, if you hand me Jalen Hurts and you say, hey, for whatever reason, and we can argue to the cows come home about why, whether he doesn't want to run, whether they don't want him to run to keep him healthy, combination of both, which is the most likely scenario. You're handing me Jalen Hurts and saying, yeah, but don't overdo, don't scale back the running part of it. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? That's my part. I'd be like,
I remember when Donovan McNabb didn't want to run this much anymore and he got bigger. I'm like, what are you doing? You were runner-up in the MVP voting.
That's your freaking superpower.
Right.
Yeah. It's your cheat code. Use it.
Taking away the fastball on a pitcher.
Yeah.
Taking away the three-point shot from Steph Curry.
It's like Spider-Man not using his webbing. Like, what are we doing?
Superman, don't fly, buddy. Yeah, don't fly.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, everybody wants to be something they're not. I'm guilty of it.
It's nuts. It's nuts to me. It is nuts that if that's and my ultimate default setting is, well, they're not going to do that because it's nuts. That's why I default to that.
They're going to go back to what worked. It's going to happen.
But we have to see. We have to see it first.
How much will the fact that they're trying to implement this early help? Because you've heard Jalen kind of talk about, and I think, I don't know if it's been in press conferences or what, but they didn't work on it last year. And I think maybe that was explained to be some of the reason, why they didn't want to do it. Well, now they're doing it early. How much will that help them bridge the gap in running an offense that we deem maybe doesn't fit the player that well? But, if you're a great player, I think you can adapt and be successful in multiple different ways. And maybe Jalen's able to do that this year. How much does that help by them attacking it early this offseason, Jeff?
Yeah, look, they did this in 2 years ago, 24, John, and it felt foreign to Jalen. It felt foreign to a lot of these guys, and they stuck with it for a month, and then Jalen was turning the football over a lot, and he really didn't want to go across the middle of the field, throw between the hash. Even though he was efficient at it, he didn't want to do it because he was turning the ball over, and he was making mistakes, so they protected him from himself and said, all right, we got this offensive line. We got Saquon Barkley. Let's ride. And, they were able to make it work. And when Jalen needed to step up, he stepped up.
Yeah. Well, to Zander's point, he's more accepting of it because that was his problem last year is they didn't have time on task of doing it. They didn't practice it basically. Yeah. And then they rolled it out. So he wasn't comfortable with it. So I do think it's important that now he's more willing and accepting of it. And I think that alone will help somewhat. But, I keep defaulting to the idea that I would go, all right, we cut you off at the knees last year. Again, for whatever reason, I'd be going the opposite direction. I'd be like, no, we got to put this part back into it. The +1 in the running game. I would have went heavily that way.
Yeah, I would have too. Said, look, we want this thing to work, but we need this to work in order for that to work.
And they seem to be going we'll turn you into a pocket quarterback.
Let's make you a pocket quarterback and we'll neuter you. We'll put the buster collar on you, and
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
We'll see how efficient your parts.
Well, how similar does this offseason feel to the one you mentioned, Jeff, where they had Kellen Moore come in and you did? I mean, I do remember we did talk about the pro style offense and a lot of those things. Does this feel similar to that to you, McMullen, and you, Jeff?
Yeah, John.
Well, it's a different style, but similar from a perspective of trying to evolve and then scaling it back. I have no problem with the trying to evolve part and then scale back. That's what they did in 2024, and it worked.
Yeah, but was that a scale back or was that a complete change of what their approach was?
No, it wasn't a change as much as, a recognition of what they had, which I think is good coaching.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's good coaching, but it does feel to me like that was they had like A and then B. Like it was like two completely different approaches.
No, they just leaned more on the running game, and it worked. The passing concepts were similar. And no matter who the coordinator has been, the offense ultimately looks the same way. It's just been, up times and down times, but you have a very similar look to the offense. And that reason is because it's built around the quarterback, as it should be. That's why it looks similar. Now they're trying to do something completely different. So that changes the equation a little bit. And it doesn't make sense to me. And to your point about the contracts, Andy, like you have Jalen Hurts, number one. This is what I can't wrap my head around. You have Jalen Hurts as your quarterback, and your goal is to turn him into a pocket style quarterback, as Jeff said, neuter him. Let's get the football out of his hands quickly. Let's let the offense. I feel like it's Doug Peterson. Let the offense work for you. No.
Yeah.
He's been the playmaker. And now, so let's pretend he starts swimming with this, and he does start to get the football out of his hands. And he got these quick little 5-yard throws over the middle to Mekhi Lemon, who turns into Amon-Ra St. Brown. You really got to pay $60 million for that? That to me complicates things immensely. Like, what are you paying?
How much does the shelf life apply to this change, though, in terms of the what they were running? John, even in the midst of the 24 season, something that you said often, which I think was right, even with the success they had, is the shelf life on this style of football is not the same as the alternative.
Well, I agree with that. And I've never.
So how much does that apply to them? Do the Eagles as an organization feel like, as much as we want to run that offense, we don't believe we can win that way anymore? Has that applied, or has that been a big part of why they're making this switch? Maybe less so than let's turn Jalen into a pocket passer, and maybe more so if we want to stay at the top of the league, we must evolve from the way we won in 23 and 24.
Well, I think a lot of it, number one, they definitely have signaled they think the league caught up to them. Which
I would agree with that.
I don't agree with. I think they didn't play well.
Well, I'm agreeing with their perspective, but yeah.
No, yeah. I'm saying I veer off the organizational take there. I think they didn't play as well. Again, talent over scheme.
Yeah, but their talented offense didn't live up to the expectations. I mean,
exactly.
Look, your top 5 receiver dropped 3 passes in a playoff game,
which is rare.
But
he doesn't do it.
To your point, Jeff, right? There might be a different outcome in that game. Some of those factors are different.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what was going through his head at the time? He hasn't really opened up on that.
So I think a lot of it is they want to increase his shelf life. And I'm at the point, I've been at the point for years, Yeah, it is a smaller shelf life, but I'm going to take advantage of it.
Yeah,
So whatever it is,
right?
whatever the expiration date is, I'm going to use it until that expiration.
Do you think the Seattle Seahawks regret having Russell Wilson for 10 years and the success they had?
They
with them?
sure as hell shouldn't, but I'm sure some people do. But
I mean, he was still pretty good until, I mean, they traded him right at the right time.
Yeah.
They did.
Take advantage of what you have.
Yeah.
Don't try to change him into something he isn't. And by the way, to your point of that's another thing. Typically, one of the best compliments I give Howie and the Eagles organization is that they do things that make sense. I might not agree with it, might not like the player, but I always know their thinking to me is sound. Here, I'm like, you're trying to you're behind. You're behind a bunch of copycats.
Yeah, why would you want to copycat teams you're beating?
Exactly.
Well, but maybe it goes back to what I said before. Maybe they just believe that their chance to win, is there's the margin is higher.
John, I want to ask you this. Do you think them losing to the 49ers as much as they've lost to it over the last couple of years has affected them, like the way they've lost to them?
We also beat the brakes off that team to go to a Super Bowl, didn't we?
Yeah, but since then they haven't done anything against.
No, that's true. And they did knock out the starting quarterback of that game, which obviously slants the way it finishes.
I would say that last year's playoff loss more than the blowout coming off the next.
That was coming off the Bills game.
Yeah, I don't think that impacted them. They just kind of knew that was 2023, and they kind of knew that San Francisco was better at that point. By that point, the defense was struggling, and they're thinking about moving on from Sean Desai. Forget the timing, but they knew there was something off. So I don't put much stock into that. Last year, I mean, they beat them and they were banged up. The 49ers were the team that shouldn't have been in that game. And they lost to them, which was a disgusting loss, by the way.
It was one of the worst losses I've seen them have in a long time.
So I do think that impacted them. And again, if they even if they play the same shitty fashion and they hold on to win the game, who knows what happens from there? They probably go into Chicago and maybe even beat the Bears, and then you're in the NFC Championship game, and you probably lose there. But I think it has a different feel to it. But losing that game really, really impacted them in a negative fashion, I think. Obviously, you need the scapegoating. Not saying Kevin should be here. You need to scapegoat people. But, Ryan Paganetti, by the way, a former Eagles coach and game management guy, is doing a lot of stuff on X. Everybody should follow him at Ryan Paganetti. He was like the game management guy under Doug Peterson.
We had him. You had him on with Joe.
Yeah, he's been on the show.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to get him on again now that he's doing media stuff. But, really smart guy when it comes to game management. And again, when you go back to Super Bowl 52, the Eagles were so far ahead of the curve when it came to being aggressive. It was a big reason they won the Super Bowl.
It was funny. They set the NFL record for fourth down attempts in the season, and now that's like chump change compared to today. I mean, fast forward 9 years.
Yeah, and he was a big part of that. So everybody should follow him. He's doing a lot of stuff.
Paganetti's really good. I like Ryan.
And he's been doing a lot of stuff with play action recently, showing you, like for instance, his most recent post is like 14 minutes ago. And he's doing first play action and how it's impacted. And the guys at the top, Kevin O'Connell, Sean McVay, these are the people that the Eagles want to be. Matt LaFleur's, sixth. And the Eagles, of course, are down at the bottom.
Yeah, they don't run a lot of play action, but they're
quarterback when
he runs it.
Well, and there's different styles of, like, I assume this is traditional play action, like people think of it. Like an RPO is play action essentially, but they, so I have to ask him how he's formulating these things. But so anyway, little plug for him, and he shows you what the Eagles are trying to become from a stylistic standpoint. And hopefully I'm wrong, but I just don't think it fits the quarterback. So I to me, there's too much. 16 teams are going to play this offense this year. So I've said it time and time again. When you do what everybody else does, then it becomes who does it best. Like if you're thinking for yourself, if you're out of the groupthink bubble, which the Eagles have been, maybe it gives you an advantage. I think they've lost that advantage. Are they really going to be better at this offense than Kyle Shanahan or Sean McVay?
No.
Or Matt LaFleur or Kevin O'Connell?
The only upside you could take from this year is, well, it can't be worse than last year. Well, could be. Based on the talent.
It could definitely be worse. They won 11 games and went to the playoffs. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
I think people are losing the big picture here. Like, I don't think people understand how hard it is to even get to the Super Bowl, to get to a conference championship game.
Oh,
what a disappointing year! I said, happens. It's
but I think even with the success, and I think John's right when he talks at times about, maybe fans are a little spoiled, and maybe even the organization is a little spoiled.
I think the organization,
they're the ones who've made the big changes, not the fans, after winning 11 games.
I think the organization's they're a little
but
far
I
up
think
in
it's
things
I
right now.
think it's fair for the team, for the fan base to expect more and want more from the offense. And I don't think that even with 11 wins, even with I think that's fair. If they're all looking, if Howie's looking, if the fan base is looking, let me finish here. If they're all looking and you should get more out of this offense. That's not to say that they weren't a successful team and they didn't win 11 games. That's an impressive thing. But I do think, at some point, people don't want to turn on the TV set and fucking be pissed off every time the offense trots on the field. People don't want to take a bathroom break after the 4 straight 3-and-out.
They never got an answer why the offense was what it was.
I think it's fair, to have those, even
and the
for
easy
somebody
guy to blame is the coach,
right? Even for somebody that's optimistic, or an Eagle optimist or a Jalen or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I think part of.
I wanted to know that multiple times. Why is AJ Brown so bad? Why is Devonta Smith not as efficient? Why isn't Jalen Hurts not as efficient? I knew why Saquon and the offensive line weren't, but the rest of it, I'm like.
Ultimately, and I think this should be Eagles fans' hope. I think Nick is playing the political game, as I've often said. I think he's understands where he is. I think he understands he has to acquiesce certain things to the owner, and he's very smart in playing lip service to the owner's desire to not be pissed off watching the offense, as Zander said.
That's how you keep your job, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Very smart, politically savvy guy, in my opinion. He keeps laying Easter eggs at me thinking, yeah, this is going to be similar. This is just same product, different branding. So, new Coke. It's the same damn thing.
Well,
they changed that. That's a bad example.
Yeah, that's a really bad example, John. New Coke. Yeah. I don't want new Coke. I want the classic.
It's the most famous product. So think of it like your favorite product, but they changed the packaging. So
it's like a batch of cookies, and you go to Acme, and they got the store brand. They got the store brand.
John, you were old enough for new Coke. Didn't they turn it to Coke 2 or something? Wasn't that?
I don't know what they did.
Coke?
New Coke. I'm
not a
Pepsi
big
guy.
Coke drinker,
People
but I
look
did
at
have a
me-
couple Cokes in Italy. The Italian Coke tasted a little
Italian
different.
Coke, I bet it.
Yeah.
I think they use different. I think they use cane sugar as opposed to high fructose corn syrup over here.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what
different.
that's
yeah.
what Coke used to be. They used to use cane sugar.
Yeah, which I don't know why they don't do. I guess profits.
Someone
Yeah,
probably told
exactly.
you it was
Yeah,
unhealthy.
But anyway, the branding thing is what I think they're dressing it up to try to fool you. And every once in a while, the last one before the end of spring was about protecting the football. And, he can't help himself. And he said, basically, it's the most important fundamental we have is the ball. I'm looking for the quote. Here it is. Most important fundamental that we have is the ball. In other words, protecting the ball. And it is treated as so. With the way we drill, the way we coach it, and the way we emphasize it as players, blah, blah, blah. And by the way, I've been to a lot of NFL practices over the years, far more than Nick Sirianni practices. And they do more ball security than any coach I've ever seen. They do. And strip and turnover both sides of the football. They have these circuits they run at every practice, ball security and strip circuits every day, every practice. So they do spend a lot of time on it. And he said, Jalen knows how important it is for us to take care of the football, and we're going to continue to preach that. That doesn't mean interceptions don't happen. Of course they do. It's a part of the game. But no, as long as I'm the head coach here, we're going to be very diligent about winning the turnover battle and winning the explosive play battle. Same shit he's been saying since he got here. I know it's like, okay, that sounds simple, but there's an art to it because you got to be able to create explosives in different ways. And sometimes that puts the ball at risk. He's talking about the risk averse nature. But at the end of the day, the ball is still the most important thing. And this is what got people pissed off for some reason. I have no idea. Taking care is the most important thing. Can we come out of a game with every drive ending in a kick, whether it's an extra point, hopefully whether it's that's a field goal or whether that's a punt? People got pissed off because we didn't want to punt the ball. No, he doesn't want to turn it over. So if you win a game, you're either kicking an extra point because you scored a touchdown, a field goal, you're scoring points, or you're punting to change the field position. You're going to win a lot of games.
But does that highlight that the risk averse approach will still be very prevalent?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he can still win 12 games doing that and make a deep
So do
playoff.
I.
Well, I just saw someone in the chat. Let me pull up the comment. I mean, it's a fair comment. Curtis says this. Curtis, good to see you, brother. Great to have you. He says this. I hate the way of thinking about it, but the way this Eagles team won a lot of games with a shitty offense, maybe if they can get a little more out of the offense, they can win more. Yeah, I mean, is that a fair thought? They won 11 games with a shit offense. If they're a mediocre,
I mean, he's not wrong, but they won a Super Bowl doing it that way.
Exactly. You saw it in 2024. They just need to be more efficient.
Yeah.
And they, and that's the difference for 14 wins and winning the Super Bowl versus 11 wins and losing in the first round. You're still winning a ton of games, but you're not as efficient and you don't go as far as you want. But yeah, that the formula I believe is not broken. What's broken is the desire to please everybody. And ultimately, that's life, though. You have to please some. You got.
There's someone in the organization, or multiple people in the organization. Well, this isn't sexy enough. Again, Sabrina Carpenter, not sexy enough, apparently. Apparently not. They don't like their espresso. They don't like
we know in Jeff's mind, Sydney Sweeney over Sabrina Carpenter. We know that.
Yeah,
they're clearly
top of
wouldn't
mind
complain.
for our boy Jeff Kerr.
Yeah.
I don't have
Sabrina's local, isn't she?
She is local. She's from Quakertown.
Quakertown, yeah. I don't know where Sydney Sweeney's from, but I don't think it matters. But yeah, so we know Jeff's.
I think technically it's East Greenville where she's from.
Okay, I don't know.
At Taylor Swift's wedding too. There are a lot of people at Taylor Swift's wedding that.
Yeah, I didn't get the invite. I'm very disappointed by that.
I knew people who got the invite before the wedding happened. I had to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
Guys, continuing on this offense, how much do you think the tight end, John, I read your article about, this team becoming potentially a more tight end centric team. Obviously, Mannion comes from a little bit of that McVay, Shanahan, LaFleur. Tight ends are a lot of times the engine in those types of offense. How much do you think that could help or hurt, whatever you might think about it, this offense? I don't know how much 13 personnel they're going to use. Maybe.
Well, I hope not.
I don't know that they have the tight ends for that.
Jesus.
But assuming that
the
Goddard
point.
does become a bigger piece of the pie, how much do you think that could help this offense this year?
Well, I think, judging by if they're going to run this offense, it should help a lot. Again, it depends on how it looks. But one thing that works in Dallas Goedert's favor as well is that Jalen Hurts already trusts him. So he's one of the most trusted players by the quarterback. So you add in not only that, but that now the offense is more tight end centric in theory. It should be an opportunity for Dallas Goedert to produce more. He should have plenty of opportunities. The 13 personnel, that's another Paganetti thing. He's been doing that too. That's crazy to me because everybody's like, oh, the Rams were so good in 13. Let's copy the Rams. The Rams don't even want to be in 13. They just had a bunch of injuries at receiver, and they have a bunch of good tight ends. You don't have all these other teams don't have a bunch of good tight ends. So go ahead.
See, John, is there a
level? Really want to do 13 with Eli Stowers,
but is there a level of that what John just said? And I'm not saying that McVay doesn't have good tight ends, but does his coaching get more out of players than other coaching does? That's where I think coaching can sometimes make a big difference. Well, now we think he's a good tight end, but the third tight end in LA might have been, whoever the heck we have as our third tight end, EJ Jenkins.
Well, Johnny Mott was with the Rams.
Yeah, it was with the Rams.
And guess what? When Johnny Mott was with the Rams, they didn't play a lot of 13. They played a lot of 13 because they have Colby Parkinson and Tyler Higbee and Terrence Ferguson and Davis Allen, and now they have Max Clare on top of it. That's why they played a lot of 13. But to your point about Sean McVay, look, I joked a couple of years ago, and I still use the line that anybody who's ever had a cup of coffee with Sean McVay can get a head coaching interview. He's the guy, even more so than Kyle Shanahan when it comes to coaching trees. He's the guy everybody wants, his guys.
And Nick Sirianni is his kryptonite.
Exactly. And the Eagles have consistently beat that team.
Yeah. And they want to be him. I don't get
it. And he's still the great coach, and everybody knows he's great. And I'm not saying
I'm telling you,
I don't really agree with that, guys. I mean, the Eagles have beat the Rams, yes. But do the Rams have a better offense than the Eagles? Yes or no?
Well, they certainly did last year.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So is it fair to say I still can take things, even though we beat that team? There are still things that team does that I can take to try and make our team better. I don't think it's just, I want to turn ourselves into the Rams. I don't think that's
Lex Luthor ain't trying to beat Superman with muscle. He's trying to beat him with brains.
But it's a point of why that look, he's a great coach. And what proved that more than anything else? Look, he was the 11 personnel guy for years. He was the guy. Oh, we want to copy all the 11 personnel that Sean McVay does. Then he gets a bunch of tight ends and he changes. Again, great coaching. Changes the way he runs the offense.
He's a very good coach, but at the end of the day, Nick Sirianni's got as many Super Bowls as he does.
I would just disagree with the premise of just because you beat somebody, you can't learn anything from them. You know
I that's not what I meant to say, if that's how you took it. My point is,
but I just think sometimes
my point as always, it goes down to, hey, you got better players, you got a good shot.
Yeah. It's always players.
Try to maximize those players. Sean does a tremendous job of it. As I just said, perfect. Last year was the best example. He completely shifted from what everyone thought he was. Just 11 personnel you to death. And he turned
12,
into
went to 13. Yep.
Well, so
all
is this the
13.
year that we finally feel? Because I don't want to speak for anybody other than myself here, but I do feel as though, and maybe not so much the last couple of years, but in the height of Dallas Goedert's career, that we didn't use Dallas Goedert the way that we could have been using Dallas Goedert. And maybe it's now that ship has sailed. He's not the same player as he ages, but is this the year they finally try and turn the engine on Dallas Goedert and make him that, versatile, do-it-all tight end that's really a threat in the offense? I mean, I think it could be if they're running this offense the way we think they're running it.
Well, look at George Kittle. Look at Tucker Kraft. I mean, that's what this offense does. It values the tight end, even when you don't have 50 like the Rams, you have one, and that's going to be Dallas Goedert. So in theory, if they're running this, it should give them more opportunities, no doubt. But just to button up the last point on McVay, what is boggling to me is you have people in the league thinking he did it. Oh, because defenses are playing light and they want athletes and he's going heavy to take advantage of that. No, he fucking lost his receivers and he's got a bunch of good tight ends. It's always about fucking personnel. It's always about the players you have.
That's why I think Ty Simpson might be a good NFL player because Sean McVay is going to be his tutor.
Yeah, I think Ty will be all right with Sean.
Potentially, yeah.
I mean, he's going to have time. I'm assuming Stafford's
he's definitely going to have time.
John, I do think your point there is good in terms of, when receivers go down, you got to pivot, you got to reincarnate, you got to
play a different way.
Right, you got to play a different way.
That's what I think. Yeah, the Eagles could be better without A.J. Brown, even though they're worse talent-wise, but they have to play a different way.
Right.
You can't just count on a guy to win one-on-one, go routes, hitch routes.
And is there layers to that, though? I mean, is there layers to if we give more to Dallas Goedert, maybe it opens more things up for our less experienced, less talented wide receiver group this year?
It's like a basketball team with great chemistry, like the Knicks versus, we just have Allen Iverson. You can win both ways. You can win with the superstar, but you can also win with chemistry and everybody, handling their role and doing their job.
Like the
Belichick rules. Yeah.
Are we too black and white on the offense from a sense of, John, you talk about what's worked and then seemingly going away from it. Is there a world that exists where they can take what's worked well and maintain it or add to it or keep it, whatever, and then try and do things that can fix or help improve what hasn't worked, namely the passing game the last 2 years? I mean, is there a world that exists, or do those two schemes, are they so different that they really just won't work that way? I don't know. I'm genuinely asking the question.
Well, my thing is, maybe when you're in it, people can't recognize it. The Eagles have evolved tremendously. Jalen Hurts, forget about the Eagles, has evolved tremendously from 2021 to 2024. Same basic offense, same offensive philosophy. He evolved tremendously in that time. People are like, well, they didn't change. The bad seasons, they didn't change. They stayed stagnant. No, they're trying to evolve. My concern now is they're trying to shift away from the quarterback strengths. And my biggest criticism from day one is show me anywhere where the goal was, hey, let's build around the deficiencies of the quarterback. Does that make sense to anybody?
It doesn't, but I would say that, and if I asked you to identify the strengths of the offense for the last 2 seasons, would the strengths of the quarterback be in the top 3?
What when he was a +1 in the running game? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's true. But what about like 24? My only point in saying that is, do they believe that the strengths of Jalen Hurts have become less consequential to their offense.
But they did make him a +1. They did make him +1 in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They did do that. Not last year, but they did in 24.
Oh, yeah. He had the big runs in the playoffs in 2024. What do you have?
I guess the only thing I was trying to say, like, is if the strengths of Jalen became further down the list on reasons for success, maybe they feel as though it's easier to shift away from that. Now, I think, John, where you're right, is most of football, shifting away from your quarterback strengths is not a smart thing to do. But, maybe in a unique team like the Eagles, where you have the offensive line, you have Saquon Barkley, you have, do they feel as though shifting away from that strength won't hurt them as much as it would hurt a team like the Rams or any of these other
potentially
teams?
They might be saying, like, all right, he just doesn't have it from the same playmaking ability. That's the worst case scenario from a running perspective. Like, he just doesn't have it anymore. But to Jeff's point, his numbers in the playoffs, 6 for 36. This is just running in a run to the Super Bowl. 7 for 70 with the touchdown against the Rams.
We all remember the big touchdown run he had.
Didn't do much in the Commanders game, which was a blowout, but he had 3 touchdowns, the tush-push stuff. And then 11 for 72 in the Super Bowl and a touchdown.
That's how he won MVP, by the way. It wasn't the passing numbers.
So still a big impact. And, again, I don't know why the reason is for that, but the worst reason is they think, oh, he just doesn't have it anymore. Then you're in a lame duck season because you're not paying $60 million for a quarterback who
you believe doesn't have it. If that's their belief.
Yeah.
And then you're going to move on, and people like me are going to criticize it because this guy's a .695 win percentage as a quarterback.
Yeah.
Where you think wins are a quarterback stat or not, the numbers are there.
The team is a .695. Jalen deserves a lot of credit for that. I do agree. I mean, this has been a very
I mean, the team does it, but that doesn't mean you're going to get that from somebody else.
Yeah, I think I do think it's a tough conversation to gauge, even for the most practical, of how do you move on, or how do you think about moving on from a player who's quarterbacked the most successful era?
Yeah,
Eagle.
I mean, look at what
it's
the Cowboys are going
to gauge, through. Even for John, a logical, smart thinker like yourself. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, I can point out where I think Jalen's come up short, or maybe has led to deficiencies in the offense, but at the same time, boy, I talk to people who've watched more Eagle football than I've been alive, 50 years, and they're like, yeah, we never won like this.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't really give a shit what it looks like.
I mean, look at what the Cowboys are going through right now, right? With Dak Prescott. You got the guy who is the top 10 quarterback who can't get out of the second round, and they're thinking to themselves, well, we got to keep bringing this guy back because we won't be at the same level without him.
Yeah,
it's tough because, I mean, there's like I'm in this personal quandary of the quarterback market, and I'm like, I don't think anybody's worth it.
I know. I understand that.
I've said that, and I'm like, I got to get over that hump because it's just the business, the cost of doing business at that
and
position.
The rising salary cap is causing this.
But I'm like Patrick Mahomes. I don't want to pay Patrick Mahomes that.
Not
this
now.
stage of his career, coming up.
What do you get? 65?
Yeah. I'm like, and people think I'm insulting Jalen Hurts. I'm like, I don't want to pay any of these guys that
By the way,
much.
there's only one $50 million quarterback to win the Super Bowl. You know who that is?
Yeah, there's a couple.
The one they got. Think about that.
Well, there's a couple now. Stafford's over 50.
No, but I mean since he got the contract.
I see what
Since he got the contract.
I see what you're saying.
It's
Mahomes, right? Mahomes. I guess he was 45 when he won.
Mahomes was in the 40s when he got his.
Okay.
But that was the highest deal at the time.
Yeah. So
I mean, you could stretch it any way there, but really it's like, but if the quarterbacks that got $50 million contracts since, Jalen's the only one to win. It's just hard to do. It's hard to do when you're paying quarterback that much.
Yeah, it is. It just makes it more difficult. And you're already seeing like that our top 25 exercise. The one thing all three of us agree, it's harder to get to 25 than it used to be.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we can argue who's 20 and 25, but we all had trouble. We all have problems doing it. When we did our final votes, we're like, oh, this is different.
And it's only going to get worse if it keeps, going to where we think it might go.
I mean, can you imagine going to Jalen Hurts and saying, dude, we want to pay you, but we're not paying you more than 51 million.
All right, let's really stoke the fire. So I'm going to give you PFF had him at 15. I'm going to give you the top 14. Tell me who you'd put Jalen Hurts over, both of you. One is Josh Allen, analytics-based company, analytics, Josh Allen.
Josh Allen's really good.
He's really good. I think that's too high, but really good, no doubt. He's the
top
guys.
3 quarterback in football.
Yeah.
Pick your flavor.
Joe Burrow, number 2.
That's fun.
Lamar Jackson, number 3. Patrick Mahomes, number 4. Matthew Stafford, the reigning MVP, is number 5. This is going to
now it gets
off. Now it pisses people off. 6 is Jordan Love. 7 is Justin Herbert. 8 is Dak Prescott. 9 is Drake May. 10 is Brock Purdy. 11 is Trevor Lawrence. 12 is Jaden Daniels. 13 is Caleb Williams. 14 is the reigning Super Bowl winner, Sam Darnold. 15, Jalen Hurts.
And this is based off of last season, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Guys, based off of last season, I don't know that that's unfair. With maybe
the
exception of
I'm not going to argue too much.
Maybe the exception of, I think Jaden Daniels is a little.
Jaden Daniels was not good last year.
Not from a
so it's a part. Yeah, obviously,
but just from last season, Jay didn't really do that much last season.
So there is some projection involved. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
They just love the player.
But like, if you want to say Jalen Hurts is a better player, Trevor Lawrence, fine. But Trevor Lawrence had a really good year last year.
He had a great year. Same with
Jordan Love had a really good year.
Jordan Love had a quietly really good year last year. I think. You know what I mean? I think that list is pretty fair, to be honest with you.
So he's ahead. Jared Goff was 16. We might as well go. CJ Stroud 17. So he's ahead of those guys. Baker Mayfield 18 after being the 6-week MVP. He falls to 18. I left. Bo Nix 19. Would have had that team in the Super Bowl if he didn't get hurt, by the way.
I thought Bo Nix was better than 19.
Yeah.
I think Caleb Williams has a great skill set, but he's
pretty ugly at times.
Yeah, he was all over the place.
There was highs, there was lows there.
Bryce Young is 20, Kyler Murray 21, Aaron Rodgers 22. But it pains me to see Aaron Rodgers 22 on any list. Daniel Jones 23, Tyler Shuck 24, Jackson Dart 25, Geno 26. He's in some trouble. What's going on with that? I haven't seen anything recently. Boy, the Jets. Yeah,
I think Tyler Shuck will be a big riser this year with a full year with.
I'm surprised to hear Daniel Jones is 23rd because he was really.
He had a good year but who knows?
Well, that's why I have a problem with Jaden Daniels. They clearly knocked him because he missed what he missed half the season, and then Jaden. How many games did Jaden?
But they were good when he was playing.
Yeah, I know they were. They were one of the best teams in football. Remember, they traded for They sent 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner.
For a while, they were the best team in football. Kirk Cousins, 27, Tuitt's 28, Cam Ward, 29, Malik Willis, 30, Jacoby Brissett, 31, and Deshaun Watson, 32. Those are your top 32.
We're going to go from if this thing does go off the rails with Jalen Hurts, we're going to go from is Jalen good enough to the 90s? Who the heck is the Eagles quarterback and why they shouldn't be? That's my fear.
Yeah,
you want to be the Browns?
Well, just listen to the names that John just rattled off. I mean,
here's the problem. Let's say you get 15 level play again, because we all think that's fair for last season.
Yeah.
Then what do you do?
That's the conundrum. That's the one I don't want to be in. Like, do you want to sign this guy?
Because you're not, Tanner McKee's not the answer.
No. Neither is Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton's not the answer.
Andy Dalton wasn't the answer when he was good.
No. Well, he was underrated, but I hear what
But he
saying.
wasn't the answer.
No, if it's Ricky Bobby rules, it was not the answer, meaning Super Bowl or bust. Yeah, I mean, it's not easy to find a quarterback. How many of that list are really good quarterbacks. How deep does it go?
8.
I'm going to go a little now, but I don't mean Super Bowl level, just really good quarterbacks.
Like,
I'll
are we going
go.
to Trevor Lawrence tier here?
Am I crazy for thinking Lamar Jackson's too high at 3?
He wasn't good last year. Not as good as he's been.
Who was 4?
4 was Patrick Mahomes,
and 5 was Stafford, right?
yes.
Well,
I
Stafford
think
was
it was
fair to
Love.
both of them.
I'm taking 4, 5, and 6 over Lamar right now.
Well,
And that's fair.
I would definitely put Stafford ahead coming off last season. I mean, let's be honest. I mean,
I just
Patrick got
believe
hurt.
you need a guy that I don't know. Maybe I'm slanted right now on the dual threat.
I think there are. I'm going down the list. I think there are 23 legitimate starting quarterbacks.
I keep trying to convince myself. I've been saying this for about 5 years. Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are going to hoist the Vince Lombardi trophy at some point. But I'm starting to have reservations.
I pick them every year. One year I say I'm going to be right.
I mean, now with Harbaugh out of Baltimore, I don't know.
I don't know if that helps or hinders. We'll see. I'm probably not going to pick them this year, and they'll probably win it. There's a good betting tip.
But last year I thought was the Bills' golden opportunity, and they pulled the U.S. men's national team on me.
And the biggest thing the most positive from a roster standpoint, in my opinion, there is no more overrated team than Buffalo. Like to Zander's point, there's the team that the quarterback elevates them.
Oh yeah. That is the team. Like, and Bills fans will tell you they're not as good as they were 3-4 years ago. They all say it.
Oh my God. It's like, their receiver, DJ Moore's their number one guy.
Oh, by the way, Stephon Diggs, really good player. They moved on from him. They were not the same.
No,
AJ Brown was better than him.
But they did have a great running game last year. I think they had the top runner in the league.
James Cook is very good. Very good.
And I think what was their and how was their defense? Their defense was ranked.
That's okay.
Yeah, they're not as talented as they used to be, and now they lost McDermott. So
it's just if you look at them player for player, they're not that. If they lost Josh Allen, they would be well under 500. Like they're not a team that's going to persevere. And
one of the key reserves that I liked on the Buffalo Bills for a long time is now a Philadelphia Eagle, and I'm excited to see what he can do on this pass rush.
AJ Epinesa?
Yeah, I loved him.
I don't think he's going to get too many opportunities.
No, but I like the potential of him being here because he was a really good 3-4 pass rusher in Buffalo.
Yeah, he's a good player. The health is the issue with him, so we have to see where he is. But
former second-round pick.
There's just and Vic really tends to limit the snaps for the fourth guy. Now, maybe that's been out of circumstance over the past couple of years because they haven't been as deep on the edge. But I mean, Grenard's going to play a ton.
Yeah, he is. How do you take him off the field? How do you take Nolan Smith off the field?
Exactly. Well, he'll get hurt.
Are we looking at another?
Yeah, he'll get hurt. That's where Arnold Epiketti and his real money comes in.
You think we're looking at another Vic Fangio 3-man rotation there because he feels, remember when he did that in the Super Bowl year?
No,
I think he can go deeper.
Yeah, he can. They got better players. They have Epiketti and Epinesa. So in theory, he can go 4 if he wants to. But to your point, I mean, if you get to the playoffs and those guys aren't performing, he'll go to 3.
He'll go to 3, right?
Because it's tough to take those guys off the field too. Like you got to be really disciplined to say, all right, I'm going to sit Grenard for this series. Well, you better do it in the first half. Because if you're in a 1-score game, as the majority of NFL games are, you want him on the field.
Guys, what is a realistic expectation for our listening audience to have for Mekhi Lemon this year in year 1? What is realistic?
Is 50 catches realistic?
I think that's realistic. Without AJ Brown, I think
how about 50 catches, 650 yards?
I'm going to go 60 for 700.
Okay. It's a little more where I am, John. I'm more 60 to 700 to 800 would be.
I just think rookie
would be a big
receivers
win.
can go either way, right? They can suck or they can be really good.
Yeah,
I mean, somebody's got to make.
I don't think he's going to suck either.
I mean, somebody has to make the catches. AJ Brown is gone. I don't think Devontae Smith's getting 180 targets. You know, I mean, maybe he does.
There's two things I look for in young receivers, and hands. Number one, because you got to get that's your job description.
And Dontavian Wicks doesn't have hands. Sorry.
Yes, he doesn't. And then route running, which Wicks has.
Mekhi can do.
And Mekhi can do.
This is where I got to believe in the Eagles with Mekhi Levin. They've hit on their last 5 first-round picks. Last 6. They have.
Yeah, but haven't done great at wide receiver with the exception
of Devontae Smith.
Devontae.
But that's what I mean. Their last 6 is
the last receiver they
Smith.
picked in the Mekhi Lemon. Where was Mekhi Lemon selected? What number? 21?
20. Yeah. Nelson was what? 17?
And
19,
Rager was 20s or something.
Rager was 21. I graded all the first round picks.
I don't want to not give them credit for Devontae Smith, but John used to say this, like Devontae was like not a finished product, but he was like,
he was a premium. He
was as close to a finished product at wide receiver as you're going to draft. I mean, he was
a top 10 pick, and I still remember going into that draft. I'm like, I don't care who you get, Jamar Chase, Jalen Warren, Devontae Smith. I think you're going to all three.
The only questions on Devontae were his size. Like everybody looked at him and said,
smaller than him, isn't he?
He's a string bean.
No, not from a frame standpoint. Like,
speaking of Devontae Smith, do Eagles fans know he's going to be playing in the 3-on-3 game on Sunday for the All-Star game?
I had no idea. So I have no idea.
I found that out. He's going to be on. I think Ryan.
They hold a 3-on-3 game.
That's this like new thing. It's called 3-on-3X. It's replacing the celebrity softball game, and Devontae Smith's going to be a part of it. Devontae Smith,
yeah, didn't even know it existed. Where are they playing that?
Citizen Bank Park, right after the Futures game on Sunday.
All right, there you go. Get some Devontae Smith love. Big Celtics fan, by the way. Got to be devastated by the Jalen Brown trade.
I'd love to ask him about. He loves talking about this.
Oh, I'm talking as soon as I see him. I'm talking about that. It's the first thing I'm talking about. He'll talk about that. He won't talk about football.
No, he don't talk about it.
Right.
He's definitely one of those guys. He'll talk about everything but what he does.
Yeah.
I remember once I asked him about the celebrity softball game, and he was all in for that.
Yeah, he'll love talking about the Celtics. He's a big Celtics fan, and nothing wrong with that, by the way. But to Zander's point though, I mean, he had these little. I remember talking to JAKIB. You know, his legs were just sticks. It's like, what is this guy? And now he's gotten bigger. Even though he never gains weight, he's like a piece of iron now.
Yeah, he's a piece of iron, like Ivan Drago says about Rocky.
There you go.
His legs were so skinny. Like, I get why people were worried about him.
Yeah. I give him credit. He is not.
And Mekhi's like the comparison with Mekhi, he's undersized from a height and standpoint, but
he's
everybody's comp, which is unfair. But everybody's comp is Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's physical.
They just say that because of USC too. And Amon-Ra does work.
With all due respect to Mekhi Lemon, I'm going to hold off on that. All right.
No, I mean from a trait standpoint.
Traits, all right. Yeah, smaller, shifty route runner, good hands. Okay,
but very physical when he catches the ball, yards after catch.
Amon-Ra St. Brown gave me an excellent.
Not the fastest guy in the world.
Yeah, over the years, I talked to Amon-Ra a lot over the years, and I still remember his rookie year. Rookie year, like 4 games in.
By the way, I thought his brother was going to be better than he was.
Yeah. And I asked him, why do you think you were a 4th round pick? And he turned the question over and said, I don't know. Why do you think I was a 4th round pick? I said, well, I don't think you're a 4th round pick.
Because he's slow and undersized.
Yeah.
He names all the receivers that were drafted over him. It's awesome.
Here's the other dilemma there that I'm sure that many people won't want to discuss, but what is the other factor in Amon-Ra St. Brown that's allowed him to excel and to flourish?
He's a great route runner.
No, but that's true. That's true.
Well, he's got great hands, phenomenal route
That's
runner.
I'm talking about. He has
Very
an
physical.
on time and on target quarterback consistently.
Well, that's true too.
Yeah,
And with
yeah.
that
No, I
style
agree with
of
that.
player, when you're undersized and you're a great route runner with great hands, the way that you succeed, at least from my perspective in the NFL, is that ball's got to be there when you need the ball to be there.
And I'll add to your point, Zander. This is where I kind of feel like they are shifting because they got guys that need an on-time thrower.
By the way, do you
Makes you
remember, Jeff, do you remember his brother in college?
Oh,
Mannion?
absolutely. I thought his brother was
Oh my
better
God,
than him.
what a phenomenal player. 6'5", just completely
What's
different.
his brother's name? Like Equanimous? Is that
Equanimous.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually joked with Amon. I said, I know you don't want to hear this, but because he's not into fantasy football, his brother is. I said, your brother won me a fantasy football championship. He goes, really? How did he do that? I said, Packers activated him on championship weekend, and I heard he was going to be the 2, and he caught 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, there he is.
I missed on that one. I thought he was better.
I mean, he
swung
had
and
the
missed
body
there.
type to be the.
Oh, he looked like a receiver. Yeah, he looked like a big time receiver. So you can't scout just by physical ability.
It's hard. Like I give those scouts a lot of credit for how they, because I remember like going even in Amon-Ra's year, like everybody said he was going to be good, but they couldn't figure it. I mean, they knew I was a force, but they didn't want to say it.
Yeah, well, he's played very well. Good stuff. All right, Jeff. Appreciate you doing it today, my friend. It was good to catch up with you. It's been a couple of weeks. I feel a little bit of normalcy has returned to JAKIB Nation. And
Zander, how was Italy, by the way? How was the Italian food? I have to.
It was great. I mean, Italy was cool. Jeff, I was saying to John before the show, I wouldn't change anything, but you get to day 8 and 9 and you just start dreaming of the United States of America. You just do. You're just like, all right, I'm kind of ready to get back.
Well, the best thing about the World Cup being mainly in the United States, some Canada, some Mexico, but most of the games were in the United States. You had all these videos of people coming over from Europe to watch the games and just loving America, which I think was great because they're told we suck and everything's terrible over here, and they get over here and it's much better. I say that to say, get off social media.
Yeah, exactly.
Average people are still nice and going to hold the door for you at Wawa.
And the average European doesn't, or at least Italian, doesn't think that about America. I mean, most of the Italians I talk to are, if they were young enough, they wanted at one point to get to America, and by hook or by crook.
I was when I was at the World Cup, I was talking to a couple people from Turkey, and it was the night the U.S. was playing Turkey, and I said, you guys from Turkey? They said, yeah, we're actually Turkish Americans now. And they said, like, they love Turkey, but they said America's everything. All the good stuff we heard about America is true, and when you actually have actual conversations with people, not faceless people behind a computer who have shown no accountability toward anything, you actually learn things.
It's true. It's been one pot, and Philadelphia came off great by everybody's.
Yeah, they did. Philadelphia did a really.
Oh, by the way, I figured out what Philly does. So I am a Philadelphia airport hater. I'm sorry to say.
Oh, I am too. I can't stand that airport.
I'm the rare person who defends it. Okay, I only defend it from the perspective that everybody says it's the worst airport.
It's not the worst airport.
Wait, let me get it out. The domestic flights, it's like a whole new world. I come in from international. They got these beautiful terminals.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful.
The international terminal is phenomenal.
Everything is pretty. There's like the Constitution on the wall. I'm like,
oh yeah,
Zander, I got a funny story.
Philly airport, I know.
My flight was delayed 3 hours like last year, and I said I'm going to go see the new international terminal at the Philadelphia airport.
Yeah,
and I'm like, what am I missing here?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It is.
I agree with you. That thing is phenomenal.
Yeah, the international was really.
They,
I'm like,
they
no
lie.
wonder everybody.
Philadelphia lies to you.
They
about
make sure
how
everybody coming into our country to Philly is greeted with
this is the
with the
greatest
good
city
luck.
in
Well,
the
there's only
world.
so much they can do. They got to leave the premises at some point. So
That's true. All right,
there's
Jeff.
only
Thank
so
you,
much.
brother. We appreciate you doing it today. We'll catch up with you again next week. Thank you,
All
man.
right, guys. I'll see you.
Thanks,
All
Jeff.
right, there's Jeff Kerr joining us here on Birds 365. Great first show back. Great to be back with everybody. We got a couple super chats we will read before the end of the program. Johnny Mac, a lot of good conversation. And we are, 21 days out from the start of Eagles reporting to training camp, which is, boy, that's closer than I thought it would be. Already 21 days out. And then I think I said, 68 days away from the opener? 68 days away from the Eagles season opener at Lincoln Financial Field versus the Washington Commanders. That's September 13th. So, John, it's all right around the corner, my friend.
Yeah, it's creeping up quickly. I didn't realize it was 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But good, we had a lot of good talk because partially, fueling it. You haven't been here, so it's all new. But when you're relying on lists, and this is the dead time of the year, so there is no news. That'll start to pick up about, the coaches will be back about 10 days before the players, maybe 2 weeks, and things will start to happen. And there's still some personnel stuff we got to get into. Can they improve at safety? Do they need to add depth? The depth isn't as impressive as it once was at certain positions. So a lot of stuff to get to. But the fact that it's creeping up is always a positive, especially no more U.S. national team to pay attention to. So now Phillies are doing well, though, so that helps out.
Yeah, good stuff there. Let's get to some super chats today. Thanks, everybody, for all your super chats. Here's him, Bison. What's up, brother? He says this, JB is a college professor equals smartest in the room. I assume he's talking about Jalen Brown. Is that right? Is he a college professor?
I don't know. I don't know. But I didn't call Jalen. I was calling the people who say he's not a good player.
No, but I think him, Bison, I did see a random report that was Jalen Brown thinks he's the smartest guy, or I don't know what I saw.
Yeah, that wasn't what I was referring to. I was referring to the analytics nerds that try to downplay his success. I mean, that team was supposed to do nothing last year. With Tatum out for the season, people thought he'd be out for the season. Ultimately came back at the end of the season. They won 56 games. And this was the lead guy. And again, they had a great bench and they took advantage. They had the best bench in basketball, so that helped them. But if you don't have the lead guy, you think that bench is carrying you over the top with an average wing player? I mean, people think sometimes I don't know what it is. They overanalysis or just contrarian to be a contrarian.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to put it, Johnny Mac. Here's Bird Gang 89. What's up, man? Thank you for being here. He says this. Welcome back, Zander. Congrats, man. We missed you. Thank you, man. J-Mac, if the Eagles miss the playoffs or have an early wild card exit and the offense looks like last year again, who goes? Jalen, Nick, or both? Good question.
Well, it's easier to move on from the head coach, number one. Again, it's easier to get a new coach, which again should highlight to people why personnel is more important than coaching. You can get a new coach.
But doesn't the Jalen contract situation change that a little bit here?
A little bit, but again, what's your exit plan at quarterback? What's your next move? Now that's why Howie has built up the draft capital, and he'll have the capital to move up if there's a quarterback they like. But they got to figure out. And next year's draft is supposedly quarterback heavy, but we'll see how that shapes up after the college season because people were raving about Drew Aller and Cade Klubnik.
Yeah, right.
And they turned into day 3 picks. So you got to be very careful with the assumption it's going to be a strong quarterback draft. But it's easy to hire coaches. It's not easy to replace starting quarterbacks in the NFL. But to your point of, I think it's more likely that I think it's more likely that Jalen goes because of the contract, and they, part hiring Sean Mannion might help Nick Sirianni because, you're really going to turn the whole thing over again with Jalen Hurts. You're going to fire the coach. In theory, a new coach, a new head coach is going to want his own offensive coordinator.
Yep.
Probably will have to keep Vic, but everybody will want to keep Vic as long as he wants to keep going. But so I don't see that being a natural avenue. As far as both, maybe almost if you're firing the coach, you almost have to move on from the quarterback as well.
Yeah, feels like I agree with that, John. Well explained. Here's worst behavior. Not to be dramatic, but I didn't see Hurts at Zander's wedding. Congrats. No Jalen Hurts spotted at Zander's wedding, no doubt. JD3 says, welcome back, part-timer. Glad everything went well for you and your wife. God bless JAKIB Nation. Fuck you, JD3. He always told me that. Here's Jerry. What's up, Jerry? Great to have you back, Zander. Your dad did great filling in, but you not being here was definitely a loss. Thank you. You have a great family, bro. Reminds me of me. Thanks, Jerry. We do. I have a great family. I love them all. Jerry says this. G. Cobb says Landon Dickerson was limping during OTAs. Did you see that, J-Mac?
Landon's always limping. Yeah, he's been limping for 4 years. So
he was limping when he got drafted, wasn't he?
I'll tell you what, exactly. He was coming off a torn ACL, but he had 2 ACLs in college. I will say he wasn't wearing a brace or a sleeve, so that's a positive because he's normally all braced up, all sleeved up, but he's always limping. A lot of offensive linemen limp. They get the shit kicked out of them. I don't think people realize. So I said maybe the biggest positive of the spring from an offensive perspective is that fact that Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens were smiling a lot. And I didn't get to talk to Landon, but did get to talk to Cam. And it was just, again, they were miserable last season. Not because they were being dicks, because they were in just so much pain. And they're feeling better, and they're in better mood. So that to me was the biggest positive of the offense, because there wasn't a lot of positive from the offense coming out of the spring.
J-Mac going body language expert on us. I love it.
Well, I mean, there wasn't.
I love it.
The performance was a shit show.
Yeah, that's right. You got to pull a silver lining. There it is from John. John, great show today, man. Your final thoughts on this Tuesday, July 7th edition, my friend.
Yeah, welcome back. I'm glad you enjoy it. Now, have you already been complained about by how much you work? Coming?
That's coming soon. It's first day back, so I think I got a little time.
Still got the honeymoon period.
Yeah.
All right. Happy
we got back. A lot of exciting shit. We're moving in. We move in together on Sunday. We're together now, but we're not in our main, we're in a temporary place. And then we move in Sunday. So we got a lot of fun shit coming up still, J-Mac.
All right. You're going to be in the honeymoon phase for a while, so take advantage of it as long as you can. But I'm glad you had a good time. I'm glad you're back, and it was fun catching up.
Thank you. Good stuff, Johnny Mac. Appreciate you, my friend. I'll catch up with you tomorrow. All right, man?
All right. See y'all.
All right, there's Johnny Mac, John McMullen. Give him a follow at JF McMullen. A great show back, a great first show back. I got to say, I missed all you guys. I missed everybody in JAKIB Nation. Life was good. And I'm on the coast of Italy, like my shit doesn't stink, right? But I did miss the great people of JAKIB Nation. So you guys are a part of my life. It's like in life we have family, we have this. You guys are a part of my life. So something was missing during the last couple of weeks, and it was you guys. And I did miss all you guys. I did have a great time. I'll tell you a little bit more about it, obviously, on Zander time. We got a lot to catch up on. Guys, I'm telling you, not only the wedding and the honeymoon, which was obviously took up the majority of the time since I've left, but right when I ended our programs. I think Wednesday before my wedding was my last shows, if I'm not mistaken, right? I took off the Thursday and the Friday, had a bunch of shit going on. Wednesday night, right when I left, literally, I'm talking 8 minutes after I left my studio. 8 minutes. I had the biggest wrench thrown in instantly. I'm like, holy shit, I got a lot to update all these people on. So we will do all of that. Give me a second. I'm at a temp location. I told you guys that. I move in Sunday. And I have no Dunkin'. My Dunkin's like 28 minutes away. I'm not driving 28 minutes to get a Dunkin'. So I drank an entire Wawa XL coffee today. So yours truly has to take a piss. I'm going to take a quick piss, and I will be right back. All right? I might need a minute because this thing's going to be a leak. But give me a second. All right, I'll be right back.
Imagine for a moment that you went to work today and when you came home, you were catastrophically injured. Your life and your family's life. That's what happened to union construction worker Mike Little.
I was scared of what the end was going to be, but to be 100% honest with you, I knew I was going to be all right just by talking with Brian. In my heart, I just knew everything was going to be all right.
Call the firm and find out why they say, "We got this." Call 215-458-2222.
All right, I'm back. I am back. All right, everybody. Let me see who's in here, who we got in the chat right now. What is going on to all of the great people, all right, of JAKIB Nation? Fly missed the whole show. We had a good show today, man, all right? Fredo says, I missed your nut ass too, Zander. Pause. Congrats on marriage. Thanks, Fredo. Keith says, TMI, Keith, shut the hell up. TMI. Take a piss. What, you don't piss, Keith? All right. Come on, man. JD, what's up, man? Good to see you. Fredo, what's up, brother? Dermella. Mine, what's up, man? Missed your mind. Ryan says, welcome back, Z. We missed you, dog. I'm surprised you didn't run into John Clark. Yeah, we were, you know, it's funny. We were in the same part. He was like all over. I saw some of his posts, Ryan. We were both at the Vatican on the same day. I saw him post up the day he was at the Pope went literally. I mean, I could see the wrinkles on his face. He went right by me. That was cool. A lot of good stuff. Zander, Frankie told me you cried when your wife walked down the aisle. Is that true? I have the picture of it. So I have actually evidence of this, Sig. I wouldn't call it a cry, my friend. You know, I don't know if I have the pictures on my phone. I think my wife has them on her phone. Let me see. Did she send them to me? I don't believe it was. I don't know that you could call it a cry. You know, it was one of those pensive tears were streaming down my face, but I don't edit shit. We had a camera woman who edits them. But no, I definitely had tears coming down my face, but I wasn't like, you know, you've seen, I wasn't crying, you know? So, no, I wasn't crying. But let me rewind here, pre-wedding. Let me rewind pre-wedding. I just told you guys 8 minutes after I left my studio, a lot changed. All right. So let me pull up the pictures. All right. I got a lot of Italy pictures. Italy was banging. So I told you guys that I traded in my Corvette and I got a new Corvette. And then 8 minutes after I left the studio, I packed my car to go down the shore where my wedding was going to take place. All right. I packed a car to go down the shore where my wedding was going to take place. And precisely 8 minutes after I left the home, my car got smashed into. June 17, 6:30. All right. June 7th. Let me turn off my damn background. Boom. Car got smashed into. So right away, like literally packed the car to go to the wedding. I'm on, if you're familiar with the area, I'm on Old York Road heading down to Broad Street. And boom, dude smashes right into the back of me. Now, the good news is it wasn't my fault. And his insurance has already taken 100%. You know, the insurance companies normally fight. It's already been his insurance company has accepted 100% fault. But as you guys know, anybody who's dealt with insurance, it sucks. It's a lot to deal with. It's, it is what it is. So, it's good that they took 100% fault. Obviously, it wasn't my fault at all. I mean, the cop wrote it in I got the police report. So I got a lawyer. I got everybody, doing it. But he stopped. He wouldn't have stopped Fly Parks. His car was undrivable. His car was undrivable. So that's why he stopped. He was dead in the middle of the intersection. But so that was brutal. Like literally right when I left for the wedding, I'm trying to get excited for the wedding. Boom, the Corvette gets smashed into. Then it has to get towed out of there. You can see there it's loaded up on the tow truck. All right, loaded up on the tow truck. There it is. Got towed. I haven't seen it since 7:26 p.m., June 17th. There it is, 3 days before the wedding. So the car got. I'm hoping it gets totaled. We're praying for a total, but because if it doesn't, again, it will be covered by insurance. But the car is never the same. I got to get out of it. So whatever. I've entered into a nightmare scenario. So that was right before the wedding. Right. So that night, then I have to figure out how to get down to the shore because my car gets totaled, but, or gets hit, it is what it is. And, that was the start. So I was itching to tell all of you guys that too, because I'm like, damn, I'm not going to talk to JAKIB Nation for 2 weeks. This is normally who I talk about with this stuff. So that was the brutal start. And then the wedding came. The wedding was awesome. Wedding was absolutely beautiful. I had Frankie there. I had a couple friends there. I had obviously all of our family there. We had the welcome party. It was on Friday night. It was banging. Saturday, the wedding was absolutely beautiful. My bride looked incredible. Just really beautiful. Oh, here's the picture of me on the altar. There's the picture of me on the altar. You can see I'm like crying, but I don't know that I'm crying. You can't even really see a visible tear there. You can see watery eyes. You can see watery eyes. There's my brother. My brother looks like he's crying. So there's that picture. I love this picture of me and my wife on the altar. Up on the altar, she's looking at me. She looked absolutely beautiful. She did. She really looked incredible. Her dress was amazing. That was her dress for church. She looked stupendous. It was a beautiful day. It really was. I really enjoyed the wedding day. If I said, you guys remember I talked a lot about it beforehand. I was like nervous about dancing and all that crap. It's like, I wish I wasn't so nervous. It is what it is. You know what I mean? It wasn't really a big deal. It was cool to be there. It was cool to celebrate that day with my wife. And being in the church was my favorite part about it. We picked our priest actually traveled to come to where the mass was. It wasn't just the priest of that parish. And he nailed it. It was a really good, it was a really strong ceremony. I mean, I had a lot of people come up to me and say it was the best wedding mass they've ever been to, which was cool because that's the meaningful part to me. The party is the party. I care about, I'm a Catholic man. So the sacrament of matrimony to me is the important part, not the party. But so that was pretty awesome. I enjoyed that. And then the reception was awesome, man. It was beautiful. It was a lot of fun. I got through the dancing. As you guys all know, here I am. We danced to Eric Clapton's Wonderful Tonight for our first dance. Actually, the dance with my mom was harder because she chose Forever Young by Rod Stewart. And it's an awesome song. It's such an awesome song, but it's very fast paced. So I told the band to like slow it down as best they could, but it was a fast paced song. So that was cool. The introduction was really cool. You know how they do like the intros at the reception after the cocktail hour? Let me see if I could find a video of the introduction. So that was really cool because in our reception, there's like a big set of stairs and there was an up top. So when all the wedding party came out of downstairs. And then when they introduced us as the newlyweds, like it was like at the top. So I came out at the top and I was doing the point to all my people. It was cool. It was fun. That was fun. And then the next day I flew off to Italy, man. I flew off to Italy. Italy was really awesome. What an awesome country. And it was cool. I mean, my favorite part, we did 3 days, 3 nights, 3.5 days in Rome. And then we did 8 days on the Amalfi Coast, two different parts of the coast. I guess one wouldn't be considered the Amalfi Coast. It was Sorrento. And then we stayed in Praiano for our last 4 days, which is right between Positano and Amalfi. And I went to Positano most days from there. We did a boat stuff. I mean, we did it all. We did everything. The only thing that I said to my wife that we would have changed was I wish I did an extra day in Rome. You know, I as much as like now I wouldn't say I hate cities, but like I loved cities growing up. I went to high school in the city, middle of the city. I love cities. I was kind of a city guy. Rome was a fucking cool city, man. Like Rome was, you walk everywhere. It's vibrant. I mean, there's no crime really. You don't really it's not really like that over there. There's dirt, it's still a city. You got shit everywhere. You got smells, you got graffiti, you got all that stuff. But I loved Rome. I had a really good time in Rome. The Trevi Fountain was cool as shit. I thought some of those things were just going to be kind of, you see them and then you move on. But the Trevi Fountain was absolutely. Let me see if I can pull up some photos from my phone from my honeymoon. I took quite a bit. My camera's not the best on my phone. My wife had a good phone. Look, here's us right after the wedding, the night of the wedding, in the mirror, taking a mirror pic together. That was pretty cool. Here's my ring. I to show you guys my ring. There's the ring. Ring's pretty badass. You can see it's got like a. So I like these. I don't know if they're arrows on it or it's like a, but I like it because it's continuous around, which resembles what a ring is. So pretty badass ring. At least I think it's pretty badass. I like my ring. And then here's some pictures of Rome. I'll see what I could find from Rome. We did a lot. I saw the Colosseum. I saw it all. I saw the Pantheon. I saw Trevi Fountain. I saw the Vatican. I saw the Spanish Steps. I saw everything. I mean, it's cool. It was all really cool. I really enjoyed all of it. I mean, we just celebrated July 4th, 250th anniversary of our country. Like Rome's been around for 2,800 years. Like think about that. Like America's like a baby. You know what I mean? Like it's like literally like a baby. And so there's just so much depth and history in the way things were built and stuff. You could see here's me videoing the Sistine Chapel, which you're not allowed to do, but I'm a rule breaker. That was pretty awesome. The Vatican was really dope. St. Peter's Basilica was. I mean, you could look at every corner of the basilica, and it's like the level of depth that goes into it is just. I mean, it's unbelievable. Really, it is. It's unbelievable the way it's all constructed. At the Trevi Fountain, you get there, and it's like. Keep in mind, I was at the Trevi Fountain in the middle of a day in the city. You guys know what the middle of a day in a city sounds like. It's loud. There's people everywhere walking. And remember, this is a touristy spot, so there's people everywhere. From around the corner, before I could even see the Trevi Fountain, you can hear the fountain. So when you get up to it, it's loud, and you can hear the water, and the big statues are fucking huge, and they're carved to perfection. I mean, it's really like, I don't know how to describe it other than like the life force of it is very strong. You know, you really feel that when you're there, which was really cool. There's your boy Big Z and a fresh Italian lid, bro. Looking fly. We were outside we saw it all. We saw the Pantheon. We saw the Coliseum. I actually thought one of the weaker things was the Coliseum. I think because I was so tired. We had an afternoon tour. We were trekking all around Rome. We hit the Vatican at 7 a.m. just so we could go see the Pope. Then we were there. Then we walked all the way back to Trastevere, if you're familiar with over there, which is a little far. We got food. Then we walked into Rome. I was shopping. I mean, I bought my lady so much shit over there. So, and then we had a hike all the way to the Coliseum, which again, if you're familiar, is like pretty far of a walk. So that was far. And then we got to the Amalfi Coast, which is dope. We did the Blue Grotto. The Blue Grotto was cool. We did the thing with the where you go in the cave, which was wild. There's me smiling in the Blue Grotto. That was cool. There's us on the coast of Positano. No, I didn't get pickpocketed. What do you think I am? What else do I got to show you guys? If you can believe it, I did a cooking class. This guy was a freaking poppy. And this guy was a savage, dude. He's a Michelin star chef. He's got 3 restaurants, but he hires managers for all of them. He lives on the coast of Sorrento, big house overlooking the coast. He makes all his food from scratch. And they just don't work, you know, like Italians, they don't work like Americans. You know, they just they just don't. So the one thing I want to say too, and I said I was going to say this. Do we have any like travelers in here? Like, you know, some people are like, remember I said before I went to Italy, like, I'm not a traveler. I don't travel. Some people travel. Do we have any like travelers in here? Or maybe any non-travelers? Like if you don't travel? Well, I'm never going to make you feel bad for not traveling. One of the weirdest things about traveling is like you'll meet people who are also traveling, and in the most stuffy, stuck up way, like you say, I'm like, oh, you know, how long you here? I'm like, oh, beautiful honeymoon, 2 weeks. We're here for 12 or 13 days. You know, we're enjoying it so much. And then they just got to like one up you. And it's like this Aussie guy. He's like, I had this 10 times. Oh, only 2 weeks. Well, I'm here for 48 days and I'm hitting 5 continents and I'm going to Southeast Asia. And I'm like, cool, bro. Like, it's like everybody has to one up and tell you how much better or how great their travel is as compared to what you're doing. I'm like, all right, like, cool, have fun. Like, I don't care. You can do what you want to do. But I did notice that. Like, everybody's got to tell you what they're doing. Look at how savage I was. Look at how savage I was looking there. No, these were not retirees, Reyes. These were not retirees. Now, you know what it really was, Prince, was the Aussies. Because the Aussies, they don't work, those people. They don't work at all, those people. So I had one dude like, oh, yeah, we're actually here for 3 months. I'm like, cool, bro. I'm here for 2 weeks. I don't really care. So, where else were we on the Amalfi? Look, there's us in Ravello. Ravello was cool. Here's us in Amalfi on the boat. That was cool. It's all the same outfit. We did one day where we went to like 3 different spots. That was cool, though. Where's me hammering the lemon sorbet thing? And there I am. There I am eating the lemon sorbet thing. They put like everything's got like lemons. So it's like sorbet and a lemon. It's cool. That was fun. It was dope though, man. It was cool. It was cool. I enjoyed it. I did. I enjoyed it very much. I was happy about day 8 and day 9 though. I was ready to get back to USA. I really was. I was like, all right, this is dope and I'm still enjoying it. I'm going to enjoy it through the end, but yeah, I'm ready to get back. So we flew back July 3rd on Friday. So it's cool. We were back for July 4th. It's un-American to not come back, right? So I was back for July 4th. So Kimberly, I saw you saying jet lag's going to hit me. It's good. It's already in the past. I was back on Friday. Friday, I think like 4 p.m. I landed in Philly, which you got back 6 hours because our plane left. By the way, European airports are a nightmare. I flew out of Naples. We flew into Rome, and then we trained from Rome to Sorrento. Then we had a private driver from Sorrento to the Amalfi Coast, and then I had a driver back to Naples Airport. So our flight left at like noon Italy time, which is really early, you know. So we got back. It's like an 8 or 9 hour flight, but we got back at like 4 or 5 o'clock in Philly, and then yeah, I was with my family for the 4th of July. It was cool. I pulled up on the July 3rd to my family house, and all of my family was outside waiting for us to pull up, you know, dancing. And my brother had Born in the USA blaring on the speaker. It was pretty funny. It was pretty cool. So that was good. That was good to return. How was the gelato? Gelato was great, Curtis. It was amazing. I ate a lot of it. I ate a shit ton of gelato. It's all it's like a lot though, dude. The pastries and shit. Like you wake up and it's like 7 a.m. They're like stuffing pastries with pistachio cream. And I'm like, all right, like, can I get like a piece of protein? Can I get like a steak? You know? So that was cool. And then I got all my family some stuff when I was over there. I got my woman a bunch of stuff. I got me some stuff too. I showed you the hats. I had the 2 hats. I got the 2 different hats. Where's the other one? I showed you the one with the blue on it. And then I also got I guess like a more beachy one. That one's fired too. So I got those. I got all of my family members something. So I bought my wife some jewelry over there. That was cool. I got a bunch of stuff from the Vatican. It was awesome. I got my brother some stuff. I got my dad some stuff. I got my dad a bunch of stuff. I got my mom a bunch of stuff. I got all my sisters got like a real Italian leather bag. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, it was good. It was fun to come home and give everybody some stuff. And I'm happy to be back though. And I'm happy to be back to work. All right. I'm happy to be back to work. Yeah, now time to make Tony, you could say that again. Zander, welcome back. Congrats on the marriage. Thanks, Big Mike. Good to see you. Congrats, Big Z. Welcome to the club. How was the pasta and pizza? Very good, man. Excellent. All right. Special K, what's up, dude? My brother's doing 30 days right now all over Europe working remote. I need that. Special K, just tell him to not be a snob about it when he's talking to other people. Z, did your dad tell you he and Cilio called LJ out? No, I didn't hear that. What happened, underdog? What happened? I didn't hear anything about that. I got my dad and my brother a sick pair of Italian leather loafers. They're sharp. And I got me a pair too, so we all matched. It was cool. Your dad and Sills? Wow, that's surprising. You look good. Thanks, Rico. I appreciate it, man. Ray says, hopefully your 2-week break fixed your perspective on the birds. All that Cilio and exposure had infected you before you left. Ray, I feel pretty good about the birds. But look, I feel about how I've been consistent on it. I feel similarly now. And I said it on the show today. I think the team will be good because the defense is good. But it's fair for people and for fans and for the organization to expect the offense to deliver more than they've delivered the last 2 years, certainly in the passing game. That thought process hasn't changed, Reyes. I think the team can be really good. I think the defense is going to be exceptional. I think the team has a potential to be great. I think Prince's point about the roster is more correct than maybe I gave credit to. But at the same time, the roster was great last year too, and the offense still what it was what it was. So the offense has to perform at a higher level, and I think it's fair to want that, to expect that, to desire that, and in many ways for them to achieve that. You know? They gave him a shot to come on and speak his piece. He tucked his tail and pretended he couldn't open the link. That's classic underdog. Oh, man. I got to go and see that. Have you consumed any JAKIB? Just a very little bit, Curtis. I didn't see much, honestly, dude. I didn't see much. I was gone. Remember I told you guys I was bringing I took my computer out one time because my dad needed me to send him a graphic for something. That's the only time I took my computer out of the bag. I didn't see that, though. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. I agree, Prince. I mean, look, I still feel good about the team, but I don't think it's crazy to expect more from this offense. I really don't. I don't think it makes you a hater. I don't think it makes you delusional. I don't think it makes you silly-eyed. I mean, the offense has to be better. You know, the offense has to play better this year, and I think it's fair to expect that. It is. And I think the organization expects that. Forget the fans. I think Howie and Jeffrey Lurie expect it. You know? So. Sills said he wants to. I can't wait to talk to Sills, man. I can't wait to talk to Sills today. I'm excited for that. Good for you, Zay. I wasn't sure if you. I did, Curtis. I did. You know, once I zoned out a little bit, Curtis, you know, the wedding comes in. The wedding is a lot, especially for my wife. I mean, she handled a lot. You know, I'm not the type of guy to help plan the wedding. I mean, you know, I didn't do anything. Some dudes are like, yeah, I'll help with this and that. I didn't do shit. I didn't do squiggly squat. So she did it all. So I think for her to be able to breathe a sigh of relief that it came and went, you know, and went well and all those things, you know, was good. Did you bring back any food? I brought my mom home a really elite olive oil and vinegar. I think it's actually right there. Look. I brought my mom home this like super elite olive oil and vinegar. This is the olive oil I got her. So it's oil. It's olives right from Positano, and then they mix it in with like Tuscan olives because the Positano olives are really strong. So I did bring back some stuff like that, but all gifts. I didn't bring back. I think my wife and I brought back an olive oil and vinegar for us too, because I love vinegar. I literally can drink vinegar. I fucking love it. So I brought back some good vinegars, some good olive oils, some cheese. We brought back some cheese. I had some meat to bring back, and then I read like customs, you can't bring meat into the USA, but they wouldn't. They never even checked. Like I definitely could have brought back the meat, but it is what it is. So good to be back. I missed you. I missed all you guys. I really did. So I had a lot of fun though. I'm a married man. Feels good to be a married man. Got the ring on. Ring is dope, right? Straight gold ring. Got to go with the gold. It was good though, man. I'm happy to be back. I am. Always put olive oil in me. No, I didn't bring back any candy. Right. Do I look like I bring back candy type of guy to you? Right. Do I really look like I bring back candy to you? Bring that. There's Prince. Prince, I see you're still United States diddly guys. Prince with the freaking diddlers. Zay, did your in-laws give you agita that weekend? Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's like, did you bring me back some candy? Mom, I want some candy. All right, Reyes. No, I brought back my mother a nice olive oil and vinegar. You wouldn't be so sleepy. I'm not sleepy. I'm excited to be on I'm excited for I'm excited to be on Cilio today. I miss talking to Sills for sure. I love talking to Sills. JD says, did you get to the Sistine? Yeah, that's a dream. Yeah, I was there. It's JD, it's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. And we had I had the full backstory on like Michelangelo and how he did that and everything. And they use like fresco for that. So it's not paint. It's paint, but it's not really paint. And it's like, he's never done anything like that. So one of his biggest rival artists wanted him to do it because the Pope couldn't use him. He was doing another job and he thought Michelangelo was going to fail. And he was on the scaffolding for 5 years. He almost went blind. I don't know. It was just a crazy story. I mean, it was unbelievable. So what I did, because you can't take your phone out in there, is I put the metas on my head. I had the meta glasses and I put them on my head, straight up at the ceiling. And one of the guys sniped him. He's like, hey, get those down. Get those off your head. I'm like, all right, jerk off. I took them off. But I did get a cut. I did get a little bit. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find Pope Leo for a second. Pope Leo was literally 2 steps away from me. That was cool. Look, he comes right by me. So look at him. He drives right by me. There's no zoom on that. That's his car right in front of me. He drove right by me. It was cool. It was really cool. Watch him bless the baby right in front of me. Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. Where's the Sistine Chapel? I know I got it in here. There it is. Yeah, there's the video. You can see the metas is just on my head. It's really insane, though. The Sistine Chapel is wild. I mean, the depth of it is crazy. That was nuts. So, did he flip you off and say love hurts? Yes, he's a Jalenite. Confirmed Jalenite. Yeah, you can't. You're not allowed to take any pictures of the Sistine Chapel. I mean, there's pictures. People are in there. A lot of people break the rules, but they got guards around that try and stop you. Yeah, JD, you'll really enjoy it, dude. It's unbelievable. The Vatican is breathtaking. It is. Every room you walk into, it's breathtaking. I did the whole museum tour, and it's just every room after the next room is you're like, what the fuck? It's unbelievable. It really is. It's truly incredible. Yeah, Lane, I got a lot of them. My wife took even more. I think she made a shared album. Let me see if I have that shared album. See, she took more pictures than me. Look at me looking like a savage on the Amalfi Coast. Ray, she couldn't dream of that. Literal savage on the Amalfi Coast. Look, here's me trying to get my head down in the boat thing, going into the Blue Grotto. What else you got? We did Capri. Capri was cool. Capri was dope. I had some. These were some of the best mussels I ever had. They were cool. They were good. The one place we stayed in Sorrento was like, it was more of like a resort than a hotel. So you could see like, it was like the Italian countryside. It had its own private beach. It was sick. It was a cool ass resort. But they had like animals and shit. Look at me with the look at me with the donkey. Fucking donkey. I forget what the donkey's name was. Giulietta or something. There's me drinking some coffee in the morning. That was good. Here's a steak tartare dish. Whenever I could find beef and protein on a menu, I ordered. All right. There's your boy, Big Z. My wife loved taking pictures of me. You can see I got the Italian loafers on there. Had to get them over there. Look at the size of that lemon. That's a lemon in my hand. There's a pasta dish for the foodies. What else we got? I think this is at the cooking class. I think that's at the cooking class. Yeah, it is. There's me and my wife at the cooking class. There's my wife with Sorrento in the background. She crushed the cooking class. The Italian chef was chirping everybody. He's like, you suck. And then my wife, he was like, oh, you're good at it. He's like, oh, you know what to do. I'm like, yeah, my wife she's on point when it comes to cooking. Yeah, but Jerry, they do like 6 courses, dude. Literally, you have antipasto, then you have first course, which is like a pasta. Then you have like a second course, which is supposed to be like a fish or a meat. Then there's like a 4th course and then dessert. It's like, all right. Yeah, they do. I mean, but it's like everything is like, everything is like prosciutto. Like, all right, like I can only have so much prosciutto. Like so we found one restaurant that was really good. It was like Armandino's or something. It was I forget what it was called, but it was so good. And they had a filet, like a freaking piece of meat. So we went there twice because I needed it. I was like, dude, too much pasta and pizza. I need to go get some red meat. So we went there twice. It was really good food there. They had like a lemon risotto with shrimp in it. It was so good. Overlooking the water. It was beautiful. Jerry said he's still hungry. Yeah, he might be. She set the bar high now for homemade. She's a homemade type of girl. For sure. Seems like I did have a good time. It was good. I'm happy to be back though. But let's see. What else? Anything else? Anything else we got to recap? Anything else we got to recap here on this fine Tuesday morning? Back in the saddle here on JAKIB Sports. Anything else we got to recap? I hit you with the car. I told you the car got hit. The wedding was good. Honeymoon was good. The flight home was fine. Oh, I guess the soccer. Yeah, I didn't watch one single second of the World Cup. And then I turned on the game last night and quickly reminded myself why I don't give a royal shit about soccer, why I'll never watch the dumb sport, and why it's really, quite frankly, trash. And I'll let the rest of the Euros enjoy it. God bless America. We're not a soccer nation. All right? We are not a soccer nation. Okay? Holy crap. Yeah, James made me appreciate football even more. I turned on that game last night. I'm like, what a tragic. What am I watching? I was honestly pissed that I took the time to sit down and watch it. I'm like, it's my last night before I'm back to the grind tomorrow. And this is what I spent it doing. Watching these bums. So that was funny. Soccer is lit. Shut up, Prince. Soccer stinks. I still haven't watched one. Yeah, JD3, don't feel like you're missing out on anything. Zander, I'm glad you're back. A beat. It's good to be back. No, I was home, Sig. I was home Friday. I was home for the 4th of July. Just watch. Is that the blonde dude? I've seen him on the timeline. I haven't watched any of it, but I've seen him. I mean, Jerry, I turned it on. I was a little late, and there was like 3 dudes down in like the first 8 minutes I was watching it. And they stubbed their toe. They had a boo-boo on their knee. Like, come on. That's why I like watching hockey. Dudes take a puck to the face, and they're out there for the next shift. Respect. And football players, they're like, it's like a car crash every time they get tackled. They get up and they keep going. You know, the only thing that stops a football player for the most part is like a broken ligament or a torn ACL or a Achilles or something. Soccer, they get a boo-boo under their knee. Reminds me of the scene in Miracle. I know, you got a bad bruise. Put your street clothes on because I got no time for quitters. Freaking soccer. All right, I'm out of here. Good show, everybody. It's great to be back. It is great to be back to the USA, to be back on JAKIB, to talk about football, to debate with all of you great people. I missed all you guys. I did. I missed all you guys. Prince, I missed you. Sig Lord, I missed you. Hurts Season, I missed you. Jammers, I missed you, brother. Jerry, I missed you, pal. Jason A-Team, I missed you, brother. Kimberly, I missed you. I missed all the great people of JAKIB Nation. I really did. So thanks, everybody, for the support per usual. All right. And a lot of exciting things still coming up. All right. Love all you guys. Tony, I got to figure out what's going on with this Corvette, man. So, Tony, I brought it when I got it towed. I got it towed to a body shop. And then the insurance is trying to figure out, is it totaled? Because they don't want to total it, obviously. But a Corvette doesn't have a steel frame. A Corvette has a composite frame. It's a very unique car from that instance. So the only way to truly diagnose the level of damage on a C8 specifically, not just a Corvette, but a C8 Corvette specifically, is you really got to go deeper into the car. And the body shop was not qualified to do that. So the insurance then paid to tow the car to what's called carrossery, I think it's called, or Keros, carrossery. Yeah, in Chester County, which is, they really work on like exotics. They're certified for Paganis, Ferraris, Lamborghini, Porsches, but they're more equipped to be able to get a gauge on the car. So the car got towed there last week on Thursday. That's out in Wayne, PA. And I'm hoping that we know a little bit more, about it. I had the car less than a week. So, the cop who was on the scene for the accident was like, man, you had this thing a week? Because my old Corvette was still showing up when he was running my plate. He was like, yeah, PA in Harrisburg, they didn't even stamp it through yet on your plate. So, yeah, it was sad, but we'll see what happens. I mean, the good news is there's no insurance fight. Like his insurance already said, we accept full fault, but I hope it's totaled because it's going to be brutal if it's not. I already told the guy across the room, like, look, if it's not totaled, I'm getting out of the car. So there's things you can do, there's people who park those cars out. There's a lot of different things you can do, but still, I hope it's totaled. I hope it's totaled. Yeah, I know, Prince. I know, Prince. I do know what you mean. But all right, I love all you guys. We'll see what all happens. A lot of shit. I'm wearing my ZK's garage shirt. I don't have a car to make content. All right. I don't know. What do I get next? That'll be enough. We'll be back in the discussion of what car do I get next. Do I go back to a truck? Do I get another Corvette? I don't know. I don't know. I'm a married man now, folks. You know, do I got to get back in a truck? I was thinking of buying like a beater truck, you know, and then getting the Corvette again for the channel, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with it. I love all you guys. I appreciate all you guys. It's great to be back. It's great to be back. See you next time, everybody.